When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk, people.
Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Good night, everyone. Welcome to the Make We Talk program right here on the Make We Talk channel, owned and operated by Tavares Media Group. This evening we're going to talk about, is Jamaica going in the wrong or right direction? Waiting on my guests to come on, my two guests who I've invited, Louis Barton and a good friend of mine, Sir Reed. They're going to come on. We're going to dig deep in, is Jamaica going the right or wrong direction? Those are the issues that we're facing in our country. A lot of Jamaicans are saying the country is going in the wrong direction. Others are saying the country is going in the right direction. Well, this evening we're going to figure out, is Jamaica really going in the right or wrong direction? Your views on it also. We're going to open up the phone lines in the program here. And we're going to ask you to call in and tell us, do you think your country, the land of wood and water, is going in the right direction or the wrong direction? You're going to call in and let us know. You know, it's an election year. Local government election is on us. And today was nomination day. Today was nomination day. And thank God everything went peaceful. There was no violence in nomination day. And I pray and I hope that the whole nomination day will spill over into the election period where there is no violence also. I think we have passed the time when majority of us remember in the 1980s. I was a little boy then, but I remember. In the 1980s, when you have the 1980 election, when the entire country of Jamaica, from Negril Point to Moran Point, erupting a lot of violence, political violence with political tribalism. We don't want back those days at all in this country. We have passed those days. I can see my good friend Louis Barton is here. Louis, welcome back to the program.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Good afternoon.
As,
I'm
as,
here again.
yes, for a man who is. Anyway, let's not get into that part because I see you're wearing a different shirt.
You like the green?
Yes. Louis,
Uh,
I was just, giving my open remarks. Our country has come past so many trials and tribulation with political tribalism and political violence in the 1980s.
uh-huh.
And I'm happy that today we don't have any violence at all nomination day. And I pray and hope that it will spill over into election day on the 26th. When we as journalists and as bloggers don't have to report any violence at all in our country.
Mhm.
And we have been up, we have come to a part in this country. Um, I can see we have Garfield Reed here with us, my good friend. Garfield, welcome to the program.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right, we call you back though. I call you back. Let me call you back. All right, cool. Jeffrey T.
Oh, you're talking to the Prime Minister, it seems like.
No, I was talking to the President of the United States.
Oh, Uncle Joe. Oh, Lord, I thought it was Uncle Donald. And I was saying Garfield to my good friend Louis Barton.
Mm-hmm. Good afternoon, Mr. Barton. How are you?
Hey, I'm all right, Garfield. Good afternoon.
Good night. I don't know where you at, so.
Well, good old Jamaica.
Okay, so good night.
It's really nice here. Yeah, all right.
I was saying to Louis Garfield that Jamaica has been through a lot when it come on to political tribalism and political violence in the 1980s.
Correct.
And I'm happy that today's nomination day local government election, we don't hear of any political violence or anything like that to report.
Yes, it was incident-free so far.
Yes, and I pray and hope that come election day on the 26th,
right,
we can report the same thing.
Exactly.
Well, let me just throw something in because I was just listening to the radio nationwide a few minutes ago, and there was some altercation between the PNP and the JLP candidate in Southeast St. Catherine, which is
I saw it. Yes.
It
was nothing.
It was no violence, but the thing why I bring it up is because I want to I'm going to drop the gun. This thing about the ombudsman, right?
Yeah.
There are incidents so far in this nomination procedure and prior to nomination where
oh Lord, it seems that Louis drop off into a pothole. My God.
He'll be all right. I mean, that is why we have local government election. Local government election is to repair the potholes. Right? The candidate. So whosoever survive come the 26th should be able now to be crafting plans on how to create the potholes. And I mean,
Louis,
can't tell us.
Louis, it seems as if somebody cut you off, man. You drop into a pothole or something.
I don't know. It's probably people who don't want me to say anything. But I'm hearing it's very low. I don't know what is happening here. Jeffrey, I'm gonna sign out and come back in. All right?
Okay, go ahead.
But I'm not hearing you. Hold on.
Go ahead. Sign out and come back in.
All right, good.
Yes. Yeah, Garfield. Yeah. We're saying that at least there is no crime or any political violence to report, and we must give God thanks and praise for that.
Yeah, most definitely.
I see some videos where a lot of comrades and laborers were shaking hands and hugging up each other.
Yes, and I mean, and we need to look into, I mean, especially in the Mokatown division.
Yeah.
I saw where some comrades and JLP supporters were clad in orange and green, wearing the same color.
Yes.
And they were supporting their candidate, but which was good. But I believe that we have passed the days of the political altercations and violence. I think we have I think those days are behind us. And I'm pretty confident that the intellect of the people have been risen. The intelligence have rise. The discourse amongst the politics will always be exciting, but I don't think we can. I think we can rest assured that what we have seen in the 80s leading up into the 70s, I think that is safely behind us. I don't think we need to be concerned about that. But what I must say though, Jeffrey, the political leaders must be careful of what they make, the statement they are making from the platform, because I remember in the down by Trenchtown over the weekend, Mark Golding referred to the Venetia Phillips as a traitor.
Yes,
and I really believe that was very unfortunate. That is something that he should have never said, that she's a traitor, because what she did, it only showed that we have democracy is alive and well.
indeed.
That if she feels like the PNP no longer suits her, it is her right, it's her democratic right to switch party. So I think the comrade leader owed Jamaica some apology to apologize to that. And to apologize to Venetia Phillips. I think that is something that he should have done. And also, the good comrade chairperson, Angela Brownberg, when the gentleman said that he's going to do whatever, dig out the high of Venetia Phillips, and she says that, figuratively speaking, I think she should have gone far beyond that and literally denounced that statement. And I will say this to say that I remember when Barack Obama ran against the guy from Arizona, what is the senator?
John McCain.
John McCain, a lady, John McCain was in Arizona, in his constituency, in his state, and a lady came there and says Barack Obama is a Muslim.
Yes.
And John McCain automatically said to the whole, no, let us denounce that. That is not true. And he knocked that down and said that Barack Obama is a good man.
But an American citizen.
As an American citizen, but they just basically have two different political ideology. And then when you look, when John McCain died, he requested for Barack Obama to speak at his funeral and do his eulogy. So that is
as a matter of fact, John McCain, as a matter of fact, and his dying bed, he called the President Barack Obama then.
Correct, and his dying bed, and he asked him that, listen, man, I want you to be the center of attention at my funeral to read this eulogy. So that is where we need to go with the politics. And as I say, I believe safely. I believe that for the most part, we will have an incident-free campaign, and people need to learn from their mistakes. And I'm looking forward to a clean campaign. There are a lot of things that we need to look at, especially in Portmore. That will be a well contested. In Moko, in the Papine division, in the Westmoreland, where you have some comrade switches to the GLP.
I'm happy you touch on that. Louis, I want to make a comment now, Louis. I'm happy you touch on that, because people always dubbed Westmoreland to be PNP country. And when you see a lot of labor rights switching seats from the PNP to the JLP in the council in Westmoreland, you beg to ask the question, is there any safe seats in this country anymore for either the Labour Party or the PNP? Louis Barton?
Well, I think there are still safe seats, and those seats are usually the garrison-held seats. But whether they are garrison or not, you can say, well, that seat is a JLP seat or a PNP seat. Like I think West Kingston is a safe JLP seat. South St. Andrews is a safe PNP seat. So they are safe seats, right? But as far as in the country, in the rural areas, I'm familiar with Eastern Westmoreland, and away from the JLP winning the Eastern Westmoreland seat the other day, I think it's because the MP there was not up to standard, call it. Let me put it as mild as that. I think the PNP will get it back. But from probably 1955 election to now, or even prior to that, it has always been a PNP seat. So it might revert to PNP in the next election, right? But as far as the violence is concerned, you see, and in this coming election, I really don't see any political violence as much as it was in 1980 election or 76 election to 1980, right? I think we have put that we have put that behind us, right? But at the same time, we have to create the institutions that can encourage that type of behavior where you don't have any fights. And one of the institutions is the Electoral Commission, right? And the other one is the Ombudsman. I think is very dangerous to be playing with those two institutions right now. Both parties should come together to encourage the non-violent aspect of it. This thing that happened in Portmore today between in Southeast St. Catherine, the ombudsman would be somewhere you could go and try to resolve it in a non-violent way. And what happened, I think, is in St. Thomas. Yes. Those are two incidents that the ombudsman could play a part in. So I am against getting rid of the ombudsman or trying to make it a part of a political directorship. Well, give it a political ear, which is what putting it in the Electoral Commission would have it be.
You know, I hear you, Louis, and makes sense and point well taken, articulated well. But listen to this now, Louis. We have two leaders. We have Mark Golding and Andrew Holness, right? If Mark Golding is going to do a campaign in the Trenchtown division and he's going to drive through the Kingston and St. Andrew municipal, and if Mark Golding say to his comrade followers, when they are in the vehicle, not to sit on the edge of the vehicle, not to swing on the outside of the vehicle, not to ride on the top of the vehicle. And if Andrew Holness was to do the same, you are leading the motorcade. Normally, the leader of their status will be probably in the first 2-3 cars, right? Of the motorcade. So if both leaders would have gone to the motorcade, just argument's sake, and say, listen, and have a conversation with the drivers, with the participants of the motorcade, things can be different. So basically, you can forewarn your supporters, and you need to do it in the utmost manner that they gain, because they claim that they respect you. So you must now show the respect that you have and show the command over your supporters. And you need to do that. Because when you do that, then we don't have to worry about any form of interaction negatively. It's all positive. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what we need to do. So basically, even where the ombudsman is concerned and it's gone to the Electoral Office of Jamaica, Electoral Commission, we shouldn't even bank on that, because we know we have a certain level of command and a certain level of respect. But frankly speaking, none of the political leaders, neither Andrew nor Mark Golding, is willing to suffer the political detriment by basically speaking the truth and how people must act in accordance. Because if they were to do so, they will now believe that they are losing a political base. But at the end of the day, that is what a true political leader does. By basically put the people first, and people know what you're all about. Because if you don't do that, we can change a society, we can influence a society. Because you're going to see it in the coming weeks. You're going to see people are hang out a bus side, people are jump off of this, people are right on van top. But guess what? We have to set a standard for people to follow. And when people set a standard, you think about this, When you find people living in certain community, If you go downtown right now and you take a man out of the garrison, I'm just making an example, and you carry him to live in Beverly Hills, he or she who don't want good not going to stay there because that area is not conducive to he or she. What he or she wants to do. You see what I'm saying? So we have to change the thinking, change the way our people think, and we have to change, have to start with the leaders.
But Garfield, we are all big men and big women. I've heard both political parties say to their supporters, stop hanging out on the bus windows and car tops and all those things. Is that we must continue repeating this to our supporters day in, day out?
Well, let me say something about that, Jeffrey, because I was at a level once in a campaign where I was responsible for the behavior of people on the bus. The candidate emphasized to me and to the supporters on the bus that they should behave on the bus. No hanging out the window, no flag out the window, no body protruding from the windows or anything like that. They want perfect behavior. And we preach it to them. We told them, I personally went on the bus and tell the comrades, don't do this. I just give away myself. Away from that. But when we left Portmore, they started to do their own thing on the bus. But I was aware, I was ahead of them. I could only see them in the rearview mirror that they are doing this. But the fact is that they have already done it. And the people on the street seeing these people misbehaving on the bus is when we reach the stadium or the arena, we can say, well, I didn't even get a chance to tell them that they shouldn't do it. But that behavior is already portrayed and seen by the public. It is probably the next bus ride, next tour, which probably is the next election that you have to emphasize that again. Because it's very hard. I tell you something, when you're in the campaign, people are so hyped up about going on a trip, winning an election, advocating for their candidate, that they tend not to listen to what the rules are. I don't know. It's probably the police have to get involved, because I was hoping that the police would probably stop the bus and say, you're misbehaving. But that didn't happen. So you probably have to get some security force probably that is stronger than me, because my voice wasn't effective in dealing with that.
You know something, Louis Barton?
Uh-huh.
My views on all of this, we are all big men and big women. We must understand.
In size. Yes. Mentally is a different thing.
Correct. Correct. Mentally is a total different thing.
Yeah.
So let's switch gear now.
Accordingly, but I believe this thing is going to be a referendum on both political parties, to be honest. This election.
Do you all believe is Jamaica going in the right or wrong direction?
Well, according to the Blue Dot poll that I heard this yesterday or this morning, 47% of the Jamaicans that were interviewed believe that we are going in the wrong direction, right? It's only 20% believe that we are going in the right direction. That indicates that, to me, people are not supporting what the government is doing. That is the first thing. But another part of that poll showed that it's only about 30-something% of the people will turn out to vote. That was a different poll. That was a Dan Anderson poll. That was, I think, late last year or early this year. So a number of people are getting turned off by the politics, right? And if they don't feel like you're going in the right direction, then more people will be encouraged not to get involved and not to be part of the system. And if you are not part of the system, then the system is saying it is a failure. And you probably have to look at something. Probably it's the right time for us to be looking at and taking this constitutional reform seriously. Because I don't think we are taking it seriously. Not even the government is taking it seriously. Because I don't hear them talking about it in any way. It is something that is kind of dead.
Yes. let us you have something to take off here? Go ahead.
Yeah, but Louis,
Yeah.
it's one thing, Louis. You make reference to the blue dot poll, but
Yeah.
we must not leave out the fact that the question was posed in two phases for the both diehards,
Uh-huh.
where the diehard GLP say one thing and the diehard PNP say another.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then actually it was a three phase. So I think
Mhm.
we should look at what in this poll, we should look at what the independents are
Yeah.
literally saying.
All right.
Yeah.
Let us go to a video clipping of it now. Let's go a video clipping of it now because we want to listen to this. This is courtesy of they use my video. I want to use their video. Courtesy of CVM.
Okay.
Hope you all can hear it.
Pressure is mounting for the governing Jamaica Labour Party as public sentiment suggests the nation is heading in the wrong direction. The CVM TV Blue Dot polls on national public sentiment were conducted from January 19 to February 6 this year. Of 1,878 people sampled on public perception and outlook, some 44% say the country is heading in the wrong direction. With a margin of error of 2.25%, it marks a slight increase over the findings in September 2023, where 41% agreed, but still lower than the 47% in February 2023. Only 28% of the sample felt optimistic about the country's outlook. That was slightly more than the 21% who said so last year, September. Optimism fell during the pandemic and is yet to return to 2021 levels, at which time it was 34% who were hopeful versus 26% who were not. Partisanship appeared to be a key influencer in the population's outlook, as JLP supporters were far more optimistic than their opposition counterparts from the PNP. The number of JLP supporters who believe the country is on the right track went up by 2 percentage points from 58% in September last year to 60% this month. PNP supporters who agreed the country was heading in the right direction remained the same at 10%, but 4% of those without party allegiance lost hope over the period. Crime ranked number one among factors driving this negative perception, followed by cost of living, unemployment, corruption, and in fifth place, the healthcare system. The top five concerns were followed closely by education, the economy, and governance, issues all tied at 5%. Not only is crime consistently perceived as the biggest problem, but the intensity of that perception increased in the latest polls from 18% in September 2023 to 29% in February 2024. Interestingly, 9 in 10 Jamaicans are concerned about cost of living, while 6 in 10 are extremely concerned. Jamaicans rate their standard of living an average 5.74 out of 10, marginally higher than 6 months ago. Some 59% of PNP supporters showed extreme concern, as opposed to 44% of JLP supporters. Jamaicans who felt most optimistic about the path the country is on featured in St. Catherine and St. Elizabeth with 33% and Hanover with 34%. However, those who felt it was heading in the wrong direction scored much higher in nearly every parish. The pessimism in St. Catherine stood at 38%, for example, but wasn't among the parish with highest discontent. Those with high pessimism included Clarendon with 53%, Trelawney led in the north and south by JLP MPs at 55%, and St. Mary, where 60% say the country is heading in the wrong direction when compared to a mere 24%. Now joining us to dissect further this day.
We're going to go into that pretty soon. But gentlemen, welcome back to the program. Based on what the just said a while ago, Garfield, your views on that?
I'm going to use two scenarios. You remember Michael Manley went to Sam Sharp Square and said 150 strong, you can't go wrong. And if you remember in 1988, after Hurricane Gilbert, that Edward Seaga, after 2 weeks after Hurricane Gilbert devastated Jamaica. I mean, I remember I could not go to school for the first couple of weeks. And Edward Seaga came to Florida and he had the barge of Florida Power and Light. They all came to Jamaica with resources. the U.S. Coast Guard was in the southern basin with tons and tons of building material that offloaded in Jamaica, and Jamaica came back within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Light were basically covered back at about 70 to 80%. And Edward Seaga lost to Michael Manley. So a day in politics is a lifetime. You know, one day life is a lifetime in politics.
Yes.
But to say the country not going in the right direction, honestly speaking, from my perspective, what we are having what people are having in Jamaica is that the man at the lower socio-economical fabric, he or she is not feeling the prosperity, right? So basically, I mean, and the prosperity, what they're not feeling is the poor healthcare, is the high cost of living, rent is up, they can't get a house because they are not living, they're not earning the wages to go to the NHT to meet the threshold of the NHT. So basically, the mass of the people is basically not feeling the benefits that the government may be talking about. And these are the people that suffers. And unfortunately, these are the people who actually runs an economy in any country is the poor people. So until these people start to get benefits, start to feel it in their pocket, then they are still going to complain that the country is not going in the right direction. No, because when they walk out on the street, you remember this song? I don't remember the singer, but the song say, when somebody came to Jamaica and them see a man and him screwing him face, the song, the DJ asked if there's anything to laugh about. So that is what really pressuring the people, you know. It's basically a man has to go to the bus stop, a mother and her sons and daughter go to the bus stop and have to wait 2 hours to get a bus. And he or she can't afford to take the executive bus because it's an added cost. So that is what's really going on. So I wouldn't say the country not going in the right direction. I believe that there are some form of improvement in Jamaica, honestly speaking, but until the trickle-down effect is not reaching the core of the people. And with that is why people are saying the country is going in the wrong direction. I don't know if I make sense.
Yes. I have with me joining now my good friend, the great-great-grandson of Paul Bogle, who led a rebellion from Stony Gut. Is it that Jamaica going to lead a rebellion one of these days? I have with me Marcel Clark. And also, Marcel, it's in the corner, there's Louis Barton, you know.
Jeffrey, having a problem with my mic. I don't know what is happening.
I can hear you loud and clear.
You quite well, man.
I can hardly hear you, but you're hearing me, right?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So what you need to do, Louis, is maybe go out, reboot your phone and come back in.
All right, let me try that.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Clarky, welcome to the program and mute your mic.
Yeah, man. Good evening, man. Thanks for having me. And good evening to your rest of panelists.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. It's a long time I've been on.
Yes. Do you believe Jamaica is going in the right or the wrong direction? What direction do you think Jamaica is going in?
Yeah, we're in the wrong direction. That is obvious. We have moved away from our moral principles and values. You know, if you realize at the death of Bob Marley, Jamaica changed when the music changed. So we went from.
Hold on there for me. Hold on there for me. Did you see the blue dot polls pertaining to what Jamaica is going in and what people are saying?
No, I didn't see it. I wasn't able to see.
All right, let me play it over for you because I don't want you to come off track with what we're speaking about.
All right, no problem.
Let me play it over back for you, please, because I don't want us to go off track at all. Oh, hold on. Ooh. Hold on. Sorry about that. Sorry. Let's go over here. and do this. Go back here and then do
Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. I'm Stephen McHugh.
And I'm Curlin Brown. It's Thursday, February 8, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Outlook and direction.
Some 44% of just over 1,878 people sampled fear the country has been going in the wrong direction, while optimism stalled at 28%. Critical issues driving the data include crime, cost of living, and unemployment. Nika Lewis explores those findings.
Pressure is mounting for the governing Jamaica Labour Party as public sentiment suggests the nation is heading in the wrong direction. The CVM TV Blue Dot polls on national public sentiment were conducted from January 19 to February 6 this year. Of 1,878 people sampled on public perception and outlook, some 44% say the country is heading in the wrong direction. With a margin of error of 2.25%, it marks a slight increase over the findings in September 2023, where 41% agreed, but still lower than the 47% in February 2023. Only 28% of the sample felt optimistic about the country's outlook. That was slightly more than the 21% who said so last year, September. Optimism fell during the pandemic and is yet to return to 2021 levels, at which time it was 34% who were hopeful versus 26% who were not. Partisanship appeared to be a key influencer in the population's outlook, as JLP supporters were far more optimistic than their opposition counterparts from the PNP. The number of JLP supporters who believe the country is on the right track went up by 2 percentage points from 58% in September last year to 60% this month. PNP supporters who agreed the country was heading in the right direction remained the same at 10%, but 4% of those without party allegiance lost hope over the period. Crime ranked number 1 among factors driving this negative perception, followed by cost of living, unemployment, corruption, and in 5th place, the healthcare system. The top 5 concerns were followed closely by education, the economy, and governance, issues all tied at 5%. Not only is crime consistently perceived as the biggest problem, but the intensity of that perception increased in the latest polls from 18% in September 2023 to 29% in February 2024. Interestingly, 9 in 10 Jamaicans are concerned about cost of living, while 6 in 10 are extremely concerned. Jamaicans rate their standard of living an average 5.74 out of 10, marginally higher than 6 months ago.
Sir Clark, you get the drift of what we're trying to speak about here.
Yeah, man. It's the same direction I was going in. Okay. I was trying to show you where we started to go downhill. As I said to you, when Bob Marley died, the music changed. It went from reggae to dancehall, but now we have dog and soul. That's where the music is now. That's all they talk about. So what has happened is that the morals, principles, and values have changed because the music has changed and they have taken civics out of school. Because they remove civics, there's nothing to kind of guide the youth in a positive direction or to let them have a sense of awareness of country pride and, even though them attire themselves, they don't have that pride. They don't have no respect for their elders. They don't have respect for amongst their peers. And that is the reason why the country is heading in the wrong direction. It needs...
But what about the political aspect of the country? Is the JLP leading the country in the right direction or the wrong direction?
Let me say it this way, without sounding any biases or anything. I honestly think the JLP is more about semantics and PR. They're not really focusing on the issues. They give PR to everything. Every time something happens, they give a PR answer. Just like the incident that happened in my parish just this week. The Prime Minister's comment on it was that why the tape splice. And if you look at the footage, it's not splice. It's that they show different segments of what was happening with the incident. Because if you have a half an hour tape, you're going to have to shrink it to put it on the news, don't it? Right? Mm-hmm. So obviously you're going to see a jump at somebody, but it's at different aspects of the incident. That's where you see the jump. Mm-hmm. But we have seen the footage in its entirety. and you can see it from different angles. There's no spacing, you know. So what I'm saying is, yes, they give a PR answer to things. They don't address issues. Look at how we have a commissioner of police. He gets 18 million a year. Do you see any improvement in crime? But they talk about training and they talk about equipment and all of that. But is it being utilized the right way? No, there's no reduction in crime. There's nothing to change the direction of crime. The other thing is that when you listen to
hold your point there for me. Hold your point there for me. Let me get Louis Barton come inside here now. Louis, you hear us sounding clear now?
Yeah, I hear you clear now. But
Louis, you have seen the done and you have seen the blue dot poll, not the dancing, the blue dot poll.
Yeah.
Your views, your honest views. Take off your political hat. Put on a Louis Barton hat now. Not a Comrade hat or a Labour right hat. A Jamaica hat. Where do you see this country going?
No, I think we're going in the wrong direction, and it's not a political party hat. It's my personal hat, because as Garfield was saying earlier, if we don't cater to poor people, the unemployed, the people who have no housing, people who have no jobs, if you don't try to bring those people up with you, we're not going anywhere. And it seems to me that every time, I've been around for a number of elections. I've been around from 1972 election, which I took part in. And in 1972, the economy was growing. I can testify to that. But also, I was in high school, and we know that the education system at that time was poor. The economy was growing, but there was unemployment. There was everything was going bad, but the economy was great. Just like how they are saying right now, the economy is doing good. The inflation rate I think is 7% or something like that, compared to 14% last year or some other good times. So the economy is doing good, but we are heading in the wrong direction. And it seems to me that anytime this economy seems to be doing good, poor people suffering. I don't know if it's part of the system, if that's the way the system set up, but it seems like that is what is happening all the time.
You know,
Garfield, why are you laughing?
Louis, Louis, let me say this, and of course, and let me make this be very clear, that I believe in a political party, but I see the lens from different sides. The economy is doing well, and I want people to look at the profit margins that have been posted by the major conglomerates in Jamaica. Okay? And they will show you, can they report this? You know, these are being reported, so these are not something that we are pulling out the sky. But yet still, you still find somebody that work in these organizations still making minimum wage. What the government of Jamaica needs to do, like in the United States, in the federal government, there has to be a grade of scale that he or she gets paid even if you are at the low end, because you have to have a meaningful income. And my thing is this: both the PMP and the JLP receive millions and millions of donations from these major conglomerates. So why not reduce those donations and give back some of your profit earnings, share your profit with your people, with your employee, and try to lift them up, that he or she can get that stipend, he or she can reach that threshold, that he or she now can go and apply for a mortgage at the NHT. Because if we don't do that, the truth is this: it's the same Republican style government, trickle-down economics. And guess what? It's not passing the middle class income in Jamaica. You understand? Because at the end of the day, You see these ads about people are earning this and people are earning that. But I want you, people are being employed, but I want you to walk into a retail store, haberdashery store, and you find 50 young ladies working in there. And I want you to ask them how they are being paid. They don't get a weekly salary. They get commission based on what they sold. Because when you go to the cash register, you notice they write their name on the receipt. I sold that. And they are taking turns. So the fact of the matter, not because A and B industries have 50 people and staff, and Statin is reporting that. Yes, they are employed, but what are they earning?
Yeah.
What are they earning? You go into KFC and you find a ton of people there working, but what are they earning?
Yeah.
So that is the thing. We have to raise that level.
Yeah.
And when we say the country not going in the right direction, we see infrastructures going up. But how many electricians can work on that site?
Yeah.
You understand? How many laborers can work on that site?
Yeah.
You understand? Look about this, and we have to be truthful. When you look at these major infrastructures going there, how many foreigners are working on that site? And tell me the position that the foreigners hold.
Yeah.
The technical part of the job.
Yeah.
And that money go back to their economy.
Yeah.
And how are they getting paid? In US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And so why is it that if you go in the hotel industry, you find the top tier managers, they get paid at a US level? Why is the lady who working at the buffet line and serve don't get paid US currency?
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about the cost of housing. I hear Mr. Clark, I realize he's from St. Thomas. Look at this major construction going on, this housing, this development that they are building. Now, who will be able to afford that? You think a look man a Yalas can afford them housing there?
Not at all.
You know, some time ago I went to Dolphin Cove and I was talking to one of the workers. And while talking to him, he said he's going to lunch. So I said, well, what you going to buy? He said, I'm going to go outside and buy a bun and cheese. So I said, well, why not buy it here? He said, I can't afford to buy it in there.
Afford it.
Yeah. Same way a person at one of them hotels, all-inclusive hotels, she couldn't afford to stay one night or get a day pass because you have to pay for the day pass. You can't afford to get a day pass at the hotel that she works. So there's a disparity. There's too much of a big gap between those who are leaders in the sector and ordinary people. And all of us have to move together. Probably not equal because all of us are not equal, but every one of us supposed to be able to afford food, housing and clothing. If you can't do that, then we don't have a society.
It's slavery all over again, gentlemen. Slavery all over again. Just a modern twist to it. Because the real Jamaican is not making the money. It's the outsider, it's the Indians, it's the Chinese. As you rightfully said in Galaxy, housing development. In fact, everybody excited about development of St. Thomas. But the truth is, the people of St. Thomas will not benefit from it. What they will benefit is crime and traffic jam and all of that. That's what they'll inherit because the labor force will come from outside of St. Thomas. The investment is coming from outside of St. Thomas. So the returns is going to leave St. Thomas and by extension leave Jamaica because it's mostly foreigners. You have people from Dubai here investing in properties. The Chinese, they get a big chunk of land too. This one, that one, and pure outsiders, pure foreigners. So the money is not going to stay in the parish.
Can you say if there's a lot of Jamaican foreigners getting lands up there? And if Garfield buying it up there?
No.
Well, I buy 10 acres. I want to sell it too.
It's not much Jamaicans. Not Jamaicans making major investments. No.
Yeah, but you know, Mr. Clark, to be honest with you,
don't Mr. Me. I work for a living. Don't Mr. Me.
Oh, Clarky. All right. All right. But you know, the truth is this though. And we have investors coming into Jamaica. But I must tell you that we have our own Jamaicans though, you know, who literally have the money, the Jamaicans, that choose really not to invest in Jamaica still, you know. So we can't be too hard on foreign investor coming in, filling that gap though, you know. You understand?
I understand that, but my problem is that the people of St. Thomas, and by extension, the people of Jamaica, will not see that money passing through their pockets. The money going to leave Jamaica. That's what I'm talking about, you know. It's not going to circulate in the Jamaican economy. It's not going to circulate in the local economy of St. Thomas. It's not. It's going to leave. All right. Before even the development rush happened, listen to this. Majority of the big business in St. Thomas are run by who? You know?
The people of the Vumva and the Vumvavi.
If I tell you. And the Chinese and the Indian. Now, the Chinese, them have a warehouse somewhere in that town where them buy US dollar and stock and ship it out. Right? The Indians, they buy cash for gold. Where the gold going? You ever hear some money coming back from anywhere the gold go for sell and come back? No.
But Clarky, who is to be blamed for that? Is it the successful government that come in, the labor rights and the people that comes in? Aren't they the one to be blamed for certain of those laws that they make?
Let me say it this way. I'm not gonna go color. I'm gonna say it this way. Successive government. Because, all right, let me teach you something that I was taught maybe about 8 years ago from an investor coming in from Canada. He said what the Chinese do. The Chinese send the uptown Chinese to a country that they have interest in. And they go with deep pockets, right? And they go into the upscale neighborhoods and they buy the biggest house. And they attend the biggest parties where all the government people go to and non-government. So what they do is they go and rub shoulder with the ruling government and the opposition. And they build friendship and relationships and they start to entice them with money. And then what they do now, so whoever is in power, they have a foot in the door. And that's why the Chinese, I don't know if you realize there's a different law in Jamaica for the Chinese now. And a different law for the Indians. Different law for each country, for each nationality that come here. But the Jamaican
hold on there for me. Somebody have a TV or something on in the background?
No, not me.
Somebody on the outside making noise.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, man. So what I'm saying to you is that if you remember that guardsman robbery that happened in Montego Bay some years ago. They were driving a Suzuki Vitara, escorting an IAS bus a Sunday evening, and they held it up.
Yes.
You realize the motor shot a fire. Guardsman them get shot and them dead. The driver for the IAS bus, which was a black man, him dead. And then one little Chinese man, not even a scratch him get. Only thing that him lose was the money. Right? You never realize that. They don't hurt the Chinese because they know if they hurt the Chinese, that crime going to solve within 48 hours. I don't know if you know it. When the Chinese man down in Manchester, they get killed, same thing happened. When it happened, and you look at the Clarendon robbery too with the supermarket, they never touch the Chinese number. Only one get one little box. You remember one set they were going on one upscale gated community in Kingston last year and ransack the place and tie them up and they never hurt them. But any other normal robbery, the people them dead, don't it?
Yes.
There's a different law for the Chinese and the Indian. And that is what is happening in Jamaica right now. Because
do you believe that, Garfield? That there's a different law in Jamaica for the Chinese? I unmute him, mate.
Well, I did. I really don't want to believe that, but what I will tell you, what I do believe that there is, and the Chinese may fall in that category. There is a haves and a have not. when you're poor, you stay back, and when you're rich, you pull forward. And again, you know, it subsequent government has propagated this argument and have done this, where the Chinese are foreigners. Foreigners are more respected in Jamaica than Jamaicans, you know, and that was from ever since. And especially when you have some money and you have some color on your skin. Because I'm going to tell you this. You talk about the Chinese. If you go to Tivoli Garden today and a black man and a Chinaman selling rice and sugar and flour, the Chinaman's sugar and flour going to sell off, you know. Because the Jamaican national, the native, will not support his local man, because he might say the local man want to get rich, but the Chinese already rich already. But guess what? When he or she want a credit, a trust, they might go to the native man, because the Chinaman has a boy, me don't understand what you say. But the yard man, I can understand. So that is the thing though. So this is the mindset that we need to change. You understand?
Yes.
We need to change. And you know, it's just so we just need to change it.
When you say that there's a law for Chinese and light-skinned people over black people, you don't mean it's an actual law. You're saying that's a mindset. That's how we operate in Jamaica. That's what you mean.
No, I didn't say a law. No, the question was asked if I believe that there are different laws for the Chinese or the Indians, and I said I don't believe that.
All right.
No, it's not a law. That is just how we operate.
It's a mindset, though. It's a mindset.
It's a mindset, yeah.
Louis.
Yeah.
Louis, let me answer your question with a true case. There's a set of certain national doing business in my town, right? And
all the name is it Chinese, Japanese, or Chung Lung Cheng?
Indian.
Yes.
They wanted to reserve some parking spot in front of their business place for when their customer picking up, right? So they put out reserve sign. The police come and tell them and say no, they can't do it and whatever. And one big alabalu. You know the Indian man do? Pick up his phone and call in consulate. Argument done.
Oh yeah.
It was
he called the Indian consulate.
Yeah, exactly. Me stand up there and watch it happen. You hear me, sir?
Yeah.
And I see other things happen with the Chinese.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm telling you, there's all right. I give you two scenarios, you know. And I was telling you in code. I said to you, when the Montego Bay robbery happened with the Chinese, the case solved quick. Right?
Yeah.
They never touch the Chinaman, them touch everybody else. The world knows the Chinese moving money on Sunday, if you never know. Okay?
No, I know.
And the Montego Bay robbery was a Sunday. The Clarendon robbery was a Sunday.
Louis, what you mean? No, you know.
No, I don't intend to do anything about it. I just have the knowledge. but I can understand that. I can understand that. But it is we black people, we Jamaicans for Jamaica, who cater to that type of discrimination against ourselves. Right? I can remember.
Yeah, but the security force are assisted and the politician them, Louis.
Well, I'm saying that they are just part of Jamaica black people who discriminate against ourselves. There's an international thing. I believe that there's an international discrimination against dark-skinned people.
Yes.
Right? And we take it and we run with it. We develop it. We carry it to a higher heights. There's a standard joke. I remember a friend of mine told me that there's a store in Brooklyn, New York, where there's a white man have a store beside a black store. And the people in the area is a black area. They're going to the white store. This guy went to the white store to buy ice. So when he came out, the person asked him, well, why you go to the white store to buy ice? The black man have the ice. And the guy who buying the ice said that the ice is colder in the white store.
What?
So, so
Louis,
we do that to ourselves. We do that to ourselves. And I want to take it one step further. One step further is that it is coming from our heritage, where we in Africa discriminate against ourselves for 1,300 years, over 1,000 years. Other people from outside is able to come into Africa and enslave us and do whatever they want to do with us. That can only happen because we want it to. We put up with it. It's just like how we're putting up with the foolishness that is happening in Jamaica now. We are not protesting it. We just accept it as, according to the slang in Jamaica, as something set. But it's we doing it. It's we setting it.
Yeah, but gentlemen, you know, let us go back to education and politician, because we are in a political season now, right? And we have two things going on. The politicians of today, like the PMP and the GLP, Mr. Marcel Clark just said the GLP is running on a PR. But Marcel, frankly speaking, yes, I would agree with that. But I don't really see the PMP, Marcel, countering with any solutions, though, to bring the people forward. Because, for example, I will give a classic example. The U.S. Department put out a bulletin about the advisory in Jamaica. I was expecting that the PMP to come out and say, listen me, based on this advisory, these are the plans that we have in place, right? We are talking about education and local government, and I hear these people are talking about they are going to bring back the youths back in the workforce. But how are we going to train the youths back to the workforce? Art Academy alone can't do it, because there is not enough Art Academy to service the youths of Jamaica. So what we are saying, one of the biggest problems that Jamaica went downhill is when we traditionally move all secondary schools to high school level. And not everybody can compete at the same level. Because when you do that, you are now putting everybody in one pot, believing that he or she can knock head and learn something from somebody else, or it automatically transfer from each other brain. We need to go back to the vocational subjects. Because I believe if we had vocational subjects back in the secondary school, we would have the expertise and the techniques for all these major construction going on. So Jamaicans, young Jamaicans, like the good old Cass, right, who used to train technicians, those are the days that we need to go back to, because whether or not we believe it, yes or no, we're going to have robots start chop grass.
Yeah.
But the service industry is lacking.
Yeah.
So we need to train back the service industry to raise the bar, and then people, because you know.
Then Garfield, don't you think that lies in the hands of the government, in a sense of not pushing a heart program, where when you do a heart program, you can get a certificate? I know of persons who has been through heart, and I know over how many years they haven't gotten a certificate from heart.
Well, that is what I'm saying, Jeffrey. We shouldn't wait to go to heart. If we had the vocational subjects back in the secondary schools, in the Vauxhall, in the Dunoon, in the Kingston Technical, when these students graduate, they could have moved on to CAS at a higher learning, and they are leaving high school, secondary school with the fundamental base to compete. That is what I'm talking about. So that is what I will give you a plug. I'm looking at this guy in Linstead. This was an IT guy from the bank and the insurance industry in Jamaica. And he has gone into automotive stuff. and he has taken in youths who are on job work experience, if you can remember. So they are bringing in these people. So that is what we need to do, because it's not everybody going to be the lawyer, the doctor. It's not everybody going to be the journalist like you, Jeffrey T, or this or that. So we have to create the space for everybody. And that is where we are losing. The space is just not there. We need the apprentice program to be instilled from even primary schools. Because I remember when I was in Alpha, they used to teach us how to raise chicken. Understand? I mean, in high school, from first form. So we need to bring back the technical drawing and all these things to face what we are going, because regardless what we do, we're going to need people for lay block.
Yeah.
We may have a machine to mix the cement, but you need the expertise and need the hands-on tool. You will never find anybody I use them on. After these cars are manufactured, you're still going to need a technician.
Yeah. I agree.
Hold on there for me, Louis. Let me welcome Luke George Cook, human rights activist, into the discussion here. Luke, hold on a minute for me, Luke. Louis, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I agree with Garfield, because I can remember when CAST was turned into UTech and taking and becoming an academic institution just negate all the technical skills that is required in Jamaica. Because when they were building one of those high-rise hotels on the North Coast, they had to import some technical people that we could have trained here. But we end up where we're training, at heart, we are training people how to spread bed and how to clean the house. And that type of foolishness, right? I'm saying that the technical people is what is required. Right now, we just, coming back to the bottom line, we are going in the wrong direction.
Yes.
And as you said, I don't hear the PNP putting up an alternative right now.
Yes.
But there's a tradition in Jamaica where the opposition party is afraid to tell the nation before election what they are going to do, because they claim that they don't want the other party to steal their ideas. But that is a load of foolishness.
Yes.
Let us know what you intend to do, so we can either support it or reject it.
Exactly.
Yes. Let me welcome in Luke George Cook into the discussion here. Luke, welcome to the program. Is Jamaica going in the right or wrong direction? What is your views?
Right or wrong? Jamaica needs a vision. That every Jamaican can see themselves as being a part of that vision. There has not been a vision since independence. The closest thing we have had to a vision was Michael Manley saying that we should have done the Labor Day and we must clean up everywhere else. Everything else is documented, from the Singapore taking our financial plan and taking it and making it their own, and have done well. But since then, what we have had is a glorified talk shop, and one of your hosts just says that nobody can say what the other person wants to do with Jamaica, but what we have seen, evident from what we have seen, is that things are not working. For instance, you have a high level of truancy of students not going to school, and recently three young children went down to the waterfront, and one ended up dying after jumping off in the water. The child drowned. But if you had what was called children patrol officers, and that these children are taken out of the regular school, for instance, and they are put at the upper camp to receive their education and also to learn a skill, as the guest says, then maybe we would have more productive Jamaican. Secondly, you need to attach to the the hard training, a career bank, where when these people come out with their training, you can basically now direct them in places that could utilize their service instead of them going back to their community and sitting on the sidewalk and not having any output or placement where they can utilize these training. What happened with the apprenticeship program, it was that because you were training high level or high volume of people, the employees would oftentimes take them, and once they have completed that 6 months training program, they are just sent off to take the next batch of people. So there was no retention of these people. So
what is
if you ask me what you
Go ahead.
what you ask me, where's the vision? A country that has a vision that value their people would have utilized the skill set of the people that they are training, either for local or international.
What I asked you, Luke, is what direction do you think Jamaica is going? Is it going to a right direction or a wrong direction?
I said Jamaica don't have a direction right now. We pay IMF money, but we don't treat the people good. We don't have a direction. We have a vision 2030 that says that we will become a country to do business, raise a family, and everybody live well. But we have not basically changed the fundamental institution that needs to create that mindset. So your education system needs to be fixed, your health services needs to be fixed, your policing needs to be fixed. You need to pay your workers better wages. You need to give people dignity by creating better homes for them. Our young people need to not see the local artists as their role model, and therefore scamming is now a big part of how a lot of Jamaicans, both uptown and downtown, survive. So we're going in the wrong direction. By now, most Jamaicans should feel value. If you talk to average Jamaican, them tell you, say, nobody not rate we in this country because it's 5 years of promise. You get rich, me get poorer, and that's just the system that we keep on perpetuating. So again, Jeffrey, one of the reasons why may I try to shy away from, if we don't come up with creative ideas for Jamaica. Today, somebody said something to me that was profound. She said that you can do 2 and 3 jobs to just escape poverty, but if you don't have financial planning and understand how finance work and numbers work, then you're always going to be in the rut that you're in. You're basically working from a paycheck to a paycheck, but you're really not living because you're barely getting by on what you have. So a direction for the country, Jeffrey, would mean that every Jamaican feel a sense of self-worth. You give an ID, an identification card to your citizens when they become 13 years old, and that identification has what we call the TRN number, and you can basically track my progress when I go to the doctors, or often I go, the level of education, because it's all registered there for all to see. But it must be a plan that the government has instituted where you're going to now use the human capital of your society to achieve their personal goal while the country is developing, because you have more productive citizens. So if we don't have that as a model, if we don't adopt that as a model, then we're always going to come back to this place where's the direction. If you think about from the time you born to now to today when you are hosting this program, the things that you saw wrong as a youngster with Jamaica, have they changed? Have they?
No.
Exactly.
Those are the questions a lot of Jamaicans have been asking. Let me go back to hold on for a minute, Luke. Let me go back to Garfield Reed. I have another person coming on into the program here, but we have to see what is going on with his device. It's saying device not connected. Anyway, we're gonna work on that and bringing that gentleman in. He's a well-known Jamaican. What happened to Luke? Anyway, let's bring in back Garfield Reed into the discussion here. We all are saying that Jamaica is not going in the right direction. Okay, what are we gonna do, gentlemen? What are we gonna do to say, okay, bring back this country in a direction that we ever wanted?
Well, it's quite simple, quite simple. Is that the powers that be who are making the laws and who are the leaders of Jamaica, whether they are JLP or PMP, needs to be honest with the people first, be honest with themselves. Because at the end of the day, these people know what the bank balance are. They know what type of money is coming in. They know what type of money is coming out. They know what the infrastructures are. So until we decide to be honest with the people and honest with ourselves, we will never go in a good direction. But some will argue. I will not sit here and say it's doom and glory. It's doom and bombshell and all of that in Jamaica today. There are people in Jamaica who will tell you that Jamaica is going in a better direction because he or she is or her pocket and bankroll is growing over the top and is getting more money, more and more. But at the end of the day, for the country, as Luke said, we need a vision for everybody until we move the GDP from $5,000 per Jamaican, per capita Jamaicans. We need to have Jamaicans earning a minimum of about $15,000 per annum, minimum, before we can see any real change. And that is not hard. That is not hard. The government of the day, the opposition needs, especially the opposition who is vying for office, needs to come out and make a commitment to the people that profit sharing from company will be a must. No, I am not saying that we must pull companies' money and give it to every employee. But if you are a company, you're an employer, your employee should be a part of that company and feel a part, not only for a paycheck. An employee should go to work and he or she looks forward to go to work because they know they are well compensated. You understand? I mean, we hear somebody in the comments say, if you want people to just, with somebody say about teaching people to spread bed. No, we need to move from that. We have to start from somewhere. But that same person who is being taught at art to spread bed, that same person should get an opportunity to get into a management position at that same hotel or in that same industry. We need to train people. We need to reinforce back the workforce so people can now raise their style of living and try and live a decent life and can elevate his or herself. And I don't think that is hard to do. But the opposition and the government needs to come out and show people what they can be done. And don't just make false promises. Put forward proper agenda that they can realistically meet. Don't put something out there that they can't meet. But please, put forward stuff that can be met and people can feel comfortable doing what he or she is doing. And that's it. And I mean, and discipline. Because I believe if we eradicate out poverty, we're going to eradicate out crime. But how are we going to do that? We have to put back the monies in the people's pocket. And that is how we have not heard how we're going to get back the money in the people's pocket.
Yeah. But the other thing too is that in economics, we are taught that the basis of an economy is land, labor, and capital, right? In Jamaica, we have the labor, we have the land, and we have capital. Even basic capital is a cutlass. A machete is a capital, right? But the putting people on the land is what will increase production. But you can't put people on the hillside to work, to plant, to do anything. So you need cultivatable land to give to people. You need arable land to give to people. And I'm saying that that's what we need one of the things we need is a land reform program in Jamaica to put people to work so that the economy can grow. If the economy cannot grow, if the economy is not growing, then we won't be able to employ teachers to teach anybody, not able to spread dead. Right? So I'm saying land reform is a key part of any future development. And I would like to hear from particularly the PNP, because the PNP in the 70s was touting land reform and they did something about it. But from that time to now, there's nothing. And I don't hear the government here is not talking about giving land to poor people. As a matter of fact, they're pushing poor people poor people capture the land, yes, but it's an attempt to get land to do something with it, right? But they are pushing them off. And the People's National Party is not saying, well, we're going to have land reform so that we can produce more onion or produce rice or produce anything. Land reform is supposed to be a key thing. So I'm advocating that let us deal with something. Let us tell the government or tell the opposition that when you come in, you have to deal with land reform. That is the basics of economic growth, economic production, real land reform.
Yes. Luke, come on back in here. Do you see the PNP? Do you believe that the PNP is a vibrant option for Jamaica's problem now? Unmute your mic for me, Luke George Cook.
Jeffrey.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
My answer to that is that since 1962, that's when we got independence. I'm tired.
Yes.
We have tried one of the two tribes. What we hear is beautiful manifestos of things that we are going to get when we come into power. In the last election, apart from Prime Minister Andrew Holness saying Jamaicans were going to be able to sleep with their front doors and their windows open, he talked about fixed election date. He talked about tenure for politicians. He spoke to the fact that there will be no new job description. What has happened since that is
nothing.
Basically empty promises, but more so, he went after fixing the Constitution, where amendments must be made, and so he took the brightest and the best of us all. He didn't consult the wider diaspora group. You didn't say an average everyday Jamaican, like from the household worker on that committee is the name brand people who don't share the same reality that the ordinary people face every day. And so Mark Golden is going to make promises. What I cannot say, will Mark Golden look at land reform, constitution reform? Will he prioritize repatriation? Will he push the whole agenda of a ganja reform program where every Jamaican can now earn, as my learned friend said, Sir, that Jamaicans should be earning a certain amount of money so that they're not dependent on overseas remittance and social program? Will he reform the education system so that it functions, that it will help people now to escape the twin scourge of crime and violence with poverty? What Mark Golden is basically saying is that the PNP is always the party for the people. They have the people at heart.
We need substance.
And yet still, I cannot blame Mark Golden for the fact that PJ took 18 years to transfer the greatest of wealth from the poor to the rich. But nonetheless, every dog have a stake in the race. I don't think Mark Golden can do any worse than the current Prime Minister. But what is clear to me today by just going around and hearing people, politics have been far removed as an engine of change for the Jamaican people. It's 5 years of con artists. When you see how much money was spent in these motorcades and so forth, when the very supporter is going to their bed tonight hungry. It is the Jamaican people who have to make a decision, Jeffrey.
Exactly.
I have one man, one vote, same man, same vote.
Exactly.
They have to decide what they are prepared to be lied to and how long they are going to live with the lies. Now, if the JLP returns to power, I can see far greater austerity measures. They have come out and them tell you now you can get $1,000 worth of tax waiver when you come into the country. But you are, for the people who are paying taxes, you're not getting return like the American system where you get back a little bit of your money and so you can fix something on your property, or you could invest that money to help you to grow your wealth creation. I haven't heard anything as somebody who is an independent person from the two political party. I don't have a political party that I have a membership or I'm aligned to. I haven't heard anything that grabs my attention. But I do hope in exercise, everybody who will go to exercise their franchise, that if what is being told of that St. Thomas encounter of somebody who it is alleged that is deported from a foreign country who is now running in the local government election can pull out them weapon and brutalize a citizen. If we have to choose, what do we choose? Do we choose to go back to those dark days when more Jamaicans have lost their life for what our founding fathers fought for, the freedom for us to live a better quality of life? Do we continue to vote for lies? Or do we put our eggs beside somebody who we know is not going to put self over country? And that's a difficult choice. But I tell you the truth, I would like to see an end to this JLP administration on the basis that the security have lost credibility. The security force have lost credibility. In terms of their economic plan, you have to sacrifice too much Jamaica. You cannot be so interested in paying 75% of every Jamaican dollar on financing the debt at the expense that while the grass are grow, the horse has to have. You can't. You cannot. And yet still, Prime Minister Andrew Holness will leave Jamaica House as being the richest Prime Minister Jamaica have ever had after PJ Patterson. It cannot be that the people don't deserve a payday. And it would behoove me that if they don't sit down and said, no, come man, if it means that they need to push a referendum for coalition government, that's what we need to do. But we cannot return no big majority to one of the two diatribes and then get screwed in the process of 5 years of empty promises and blank checks. No, Jamaica deserves people to rise above that. I saw people are out today. People are out today in numbers. And when you go home tonight, how I know the PMP are coming out because they're saying austerity, austerity. There are members of the JLP who are crossing floor, and there are members of the PMP crossing floor. But do we choose? Couldn't we find anybody else than a deportee to represent a political party in Jamaica? And where we have gunslinging upcoming leaders, the country can't deal with that. It's too heavy, too heavy. Young people need for system. Young people, middle-aged people, every people need to see people who are going to come to their community. You have a business plan, as my friend, my brother said, a plan, an economic plan, as well as a social development plan. Um, and that is going to drive growth in that constituency, and people are going to be able to get up and see the country moving in the right direction.
I have joining us now Andre Hilton, a former member of parliament for the People's National Party. Mr. Hilton, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, my very good friend, Jeffrey Tavares. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, I see you. I see I have Luke George Cook with me and Garfield Reed and one of your friend Louis Barton.
Yeah, man. Great human beings, great people, legends in their own right.
Indeed.
I join you.
Give thanks. Good to see you. Good to see you all.
Let me answer this question, Sir Hilton. Today was nomination day.
Yes.
And take off your political hat and put on Andre Hilton hat, a Jamaican, not a member of the People's National Party, or a former minister, or a former MP, but a Jamaican. Where do you see Jamaica going?
Well, in relation to nomination day or generally?
No, forget about the nomination day. I know I said nomination day. In relation to the entire country, where is it going under this shebang that is going on?
Well, let me just say categorically, one of the real challenges we have found ourselves in as a country, and it's my personal opinion, is the lack of understanding of governance by our leaders in recent times. Look here, running a country is no ordinary job. When I reflect on someone like a Norman Manley, who was adept to what a country should be because of his history. Mother was white, father was black. His father was a businessman. He was a radical, started behaving himself, got educated. He came from the bowels of the people, but yet was exposed to opportunities. And he had a thinking and a level, a depth of understanding of what a country ought to be. And he did his best. And I would classify Norman Manley as the architect of the Jamaican society. But when you go further, Buster, in his own right, being a flamboyant, charismatic leader, he probably never had sufficient depth to have delivered what he could have delivered in his time. If you look at the other leaders, Michael Manley, I think, who learned quietly at his father's feet, understood the struggles of Black people in Jamaica, understood being in the fields with the sugar workers. He understood the belly of the pains of the people, and he was able to deliver lots of relief to them. And you move on to Siaga, which, if you're to be honest, while Siaga has had some negatives, he probably, in the entire gamut of JLP leaders, was the best we have had in terms of a JLP leader that delivered the kind of policies and services to uplift the masses of the country. And before I go any further, I want to say, Jeffrey, and I know this is a long run-up, but if you're going to run a country like Jamaica, it's not like England, it's not like America. It's a country that the majority of people was, and certainly our ancestors were enslaved, kicked off the plantation without land, without education, and without self-esteem. So any government that is going to run this country, center of that entire leadership must be that great masses who was disenfranchised. And people may say, boy, slavery done a long time, but the remnants of slavery is still with us. We're still have a great, large percentage of our people who are landless, not educated, and certainly lacking in self-esteem. When you move on from Siaga, you have a P.J. Patterson. Look at P.J. Patterson. P.J. was campaigning from 1959, and he became prime minister in 19. He was really adept with the culture of Jamaica, the issues in Jamaica. He understood the politics and he understood the PNP. He was able to deliver as the Mr. Infrastructure and transformed a lot of things in Jamaica. Portia came in, populist, bright lady. I served with Portia in Parliament. She also came from the bowels of the people and understood a lot. She never had much opportunity to do much because of the constraints with the IMF and trying to get back Jamaica on the right track. Portia, hands and feet were tied, and we really have to give her credit for expending our political capital to fix Jamaica without a revolution. Of course, Peter Phillips never became prime minister. Now we have Mark Golding, he's there. Andrew Holness. One of the challenges we're having with Andrew Holness presently, he is an apprentice that is doing a master technician's job. And we find that some silly mistakes. No, and I'm being very honest. For you to run a country is not like running a patty shop. It requires a deep understanding of the entire gamut of governance. He needs to understand the history of the country and how the people feel and the pains of the people and where the people want to go. Now, if you look at the Jamaica Labour Party and its genesis, you'd understand that the colonial class in 1942 was very instrumental in forming the Jamaica Labour Party. Therefore, when you think of the slave masters, when you think of the colonial class who were privileged, who exploited this country for many years, and they start a political or funded a political party, then what else can you expect? So there are two issues. Andrew, I have a lot of regard for him. You know, I've known him personally, and I have no problem with Andrew as a individual. But to be made the leader of Jamaica, I'm not sure if he was ready. He was tossed in there. I'm not sure if he was ready to deal with this country or this project called Jamaica. So to me, one of the challenges and why you're asking me this question, Tavares, is that we don't have the feeling that we're heading a particular direction, because like a trial and error, it's like you're responding, you're continuing the projects and nice talk, but the Jamaican society doesn't feel that Andrew Holness is taking them to a particular place.
But Andre, but I have to ask this question.
Yes.
And something you said that it unnerved with me, and you said that Andrew Holness is an apprentice doing a masterful job. He was thrown in there. But wouldn't you have said the same thing of Mark Golding, that he was literally thrown into the position he has today as opposition leader?
No, first of all, I need to correct something because you misunderstood me.
No, I didn't misunderstood you. I mean, we are going to say that Mark Golding was elected by the delegates.
No. First of all, I'm saying to you that Andrew Holness is an apprentice placed in a master technician's job.
Okay.
So it's like a boy, a big man work for them.
Correct. But wouldn't that be the same? I'm
not disrespecting Andrew Holness.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are, but I am of the opinion that Mark Golding was elected by the delegates of the PNP, but yet still Mark Golding was never prepared for this position. So the question I'm asking is that if Mark Golding become Prime Minister of Jamaica tomorrow, if an election is called, wouldn't he have to learn the ropes of being Prime Minister?
Well, remember now, I am discussing the people who have led this country.
Okay.
I'm not discussing who wants to lead the country.
Okay.
Peter Phillips never led the country. Although I think he was qualified to do so.
Okay.
No. Anybody who gets a job, and if you're tossed in a particular position and you have a ship that needs to be sailed and you're placed in the position of being a captain, you're going to have to swim or drown, swim or sink. No, I'm not saying that Mark Golding. Yes, Mark Golding does not have the experience. And I want to get into that. How willing Mark Golding is to adopt to what is necessary to run a country is a different matter.
Thing.
Because it don't mean that because you don't have experience, you can't run a country. It is how willing you are to listen, to understand quickly, get good counsel, and so on. So Mark has not been placed in that position as yet.
Okay.
And one of the things I know about Mark Golding is that he is a very smart gentleman and he listens. So, but I don't want to take this conversation to Mark. Mark, the Prime Minister, right?
No. I just want to clarify. I just want to get some clarity on that.
Right. So Jeffrey Tavares asked me a question about the direction of the country, and I'm saying fundamentally, you have to have it in your belly to run a country. You have to have a clear understanding of what the issues are with the people in the country. You have to understand what the needs are and how you're going to address those needs that affects the majority. Still, as we speak, while the People's National Party has done the most for housing in Jamaica, talk about Portmore, talk about Mona Heights, Harborview, the Boulevard, Cornwall Courts in Montego Bay, most low-income housing in Jamaica that were built that poor people could own is PNP building. Not to say that the JLP has not built housing for poor people, but not as much as the PNP.
Yes.
When we think of the policies in relation to education, and I told you 3 pillars that any political parties need to stand on in serving this country. One is housing, second is education. The People's National Party has done the most to educate the masses in this country, from common entrance to building plans to free education at the university level, whatever it is. It is the PNP that has done the most. No, I'm not saying that the JLP has not done anything to affect or impact education in a positive way. Because in the 60s, they built probably the most schools in any particular 10-year period. And the final thing is self-esteem. How do we feel about ourselves as a people? How do we re-engineer the minds of a people that has been trodden down by the slave masters for 200, 300, 400 years and has caused us to think that we're less than who we are? How these 2 political parties have impacted the people in this regard. I'm saying the PNP has done the most. For us to go anywhere in this country, we have to now look at what still affects the people. We still have a lot of landless people in Jamaica. The education system has worked to a point, but we now have to be very honest with each other and say, is the education system working for all?
Yes. Hold on for me, Garfield Reid. Hold on for me. So Hilton, long and short of it, a yes or a no. Do you think Jamaica is going in the right direction or the wrong direction?
I believe Jamaica is at a crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you why. Under the Andrew Holness-led administration, which Nigel Clark brag and boast about, the macroeconomics, they've balanced it, they've kept it, whatever. They don't give credit to Dr. Phillips and Portia Simpson Miller for fixed it in the first place and set the foundation. However, those things are good. So yes, You can't just say labor right now around the country going and nothing not going on. Yeah, there are things that are going on. However, you can't have a big bank account and you can go and brag, oh, your balance of payment is excellent and your bank book nice, but the poor people and the masses or your children are dead for hungry. So on one hand, we're going in the right direction in terms of our macroeconomic policies and programs, which was started by the PNP, Peter Phillips and Portia. But there are a lot of bread and butter issues and also policy issues to uplift the great majority of this country, which are still left behind, that is not being addressed. So in that regard, we're not going in the right direction. In some areas, like the macroeconomics, yes, we're doing well, and we need to continue on that path. But when it comes on to policies to impact and uplift the masses, we have failed miserably. Andrew Holness has failed. Although I'm saying love the poor, but he don't love poverty. He doesn't understand the struggles of poor people, uneducated people, people who need a sense of purpose and direction. He doesn't understand that.
Yeah, well, Andre, let me ask you one thing, because I've always seen where the macroeconomic figures are great, wonderful. I mean, 1972, in the 70s, in the 60s to 70s, you had great macroeconomic figures going into 72 election. And the same thing in 1980. At the end of 1980, you had great economic figures. And on and on. Almost at every election, the macroeconomic figures are great. But they're not carrying poor people with them. Therefore, something must be wrong with the way the macroeconomic, the way the economic development is happening in Jamaica. There's something wrong that it is not carrying poor people with them.
Absolutely.
It is leaving them behind. No,
Louis,
I'm saying that something is wrong with the economic system, so we need to change that. We need to find out what is wrong, so all of us can move in the same direction at a level where we can live.
Louis, you are absolutely correct. Between 1962 and 1972, during the well, first of all, let me clear this up. If you go into the Jamaica Labour Party's room, they will tell you during the 60s to 70s, the economy grew 10%, 12%, 8%, 15%. That's true. But they will not tell you, what they don't tell you in that room is that the policies, the educational policy and the industrialization policy established by Norman Manley in 1955, where between 55 and 62, the economy grew 10, 12, 8, 9, 15%, just the same. Yeah. So that growth started in 1955, which attracted Lee Kuan Yew, why he came to Jamaica in 64 or 65. So yes, the economy grew in the 60s, but at the end of by 1972, unemployment moved from 110,000 and almost doubled by 1972. So while the economy was growing, people were suffering. So the point I'm making, Louis, is that you can't have an economy, you brag, oh, the macroeconomics are so wonderful, but people pick me go to school hungry every day. People pick me have mental health issues they can't address. People can't send them pick me can't have lunch money. Mother gone to school and there's no father and the pick me run a road and the pick them go to school. I mean, people can't get decent jobs. The pay is low. So you're correct, Louis. You can't have this big nice bank account and people you're picking them are dead for hunger. What's the point?
Let me ask you this question, Sir Hilton. Luke, are you there? You want to come in and ask a question here? As soon as you come in, let me ask Sir Hilton this question here. If Mark Golden doesn't bring home the local government election for the People's National Party, what do you think going to happen next?
Jeffrey, I don't think that's a fair statement, Jeffrey. Honestly speaking, Jeffrey, I think we are going.
I'm asking a question.
No, hold on, Jeffrey, man.
No, hold on, Garfield. I'm asking a question.
No, Jeffrey.
No, but I'm asking a question.
We need to talk policies and seek solution. We need to talk policies and seek solution. Whether or not Mark Golden become Prime Minister or Andrew Holness is Prime Minister, Jamaica.
That's not what I asked. Look, if you listen to me, just listen now. I'm asking a question. If the People's National Party does not bring home the local government election, what happened next? Is all I'm asking.
No, Jeffrey, this can't be a part of it.
Garfield, I thank you for your defense, sir.
No, it's not about the defense, Andre. It's about the fact that what I want to hear is policies and solution. I don't want you, Andre, who is running for a seat, to come out and make promises, and then you cannot deliver on your promises. That is my argument.
But Garfield, no. Hold on there, Garfield. Hold on. I have to ask this question.
The man asked it on the backdrop of that. So if Andre lay out the red carpet.
Okay then. All right. Okay. No, I stand corrected.
If Bobby Montague, hold on, Andrea. Bobby Montague say appear idiot the PMP have and fools who can be beaten. Now we tie races, you know that to Garfield to lead that, because the question is Mark Golding attractive to the voters? Does Mark Golding attract voters' confidence, and will people see Mark Golding as a man we are going to deliver some things that is going to move the goalpost? Similar to where Andre said, where him say a while ago, that me did say before, so it's like if me did give the word, him just come give the confirmation.
Correct. And
you cannot be
policies and solution.
Yeah, but before policies, if the PMP don't win the next election, we are going to have the policies of Andrew Holness, Nigel Clark, and that high tier of the Jamaica Labour Party saying that they have done the best. The people them take out a supplement paper Sunday, Garden of the Gleaner. You could have get out of their achievement as to say these are things that were not in the pipelines. So again, they have not demonstrated to me as an independent person that they literally have a plan to take this country. What they did, they took the Peter Phillips, Portia Simpson model for the expansion of road, superhighway, and those things. Those things means that you are make the country look attractive for investors, but you still have not brought down things like crime. You still have not looked at a better increase. So when you're telling people, are we giving a better minimum wage? What you gave us was a livable wage, and we can't live on that. Those are the policies I would have loved to see them say. Not to say I'm giving the people who have the ability to travel in and outside of this country $1,000. So Jeffrey is saying basically, and I would love for Andre to answer it, not because I think that the onus is on Mark Golding. What I mean, I probably would have said, do you believe that people have confidence in the PMP that they are going to come to the office and actually put in the work and not take people for granted? Don't give them this 5-year.
That is the question that should have been asked by Jeffrey.
Yeah, the 5 year. But I that him ask, but him not name Luke Judge, him name Jeffrey Tavares. Him is a Tavares. Him ask at the intellectual. But Andre, can the PMP attract the imagination of the people? And do they have anything if they were to take power tomorrow?
Exactly. That's a question I want.
Do they have anything to offer?
Let me answer it this way.
But Andre, I want to answer Jeffrey T question. Like I don't want him to believe I'm running over him, do you know?
No. But look here, Jeffrey can't draw me out, Jeffrey can't draw me.
No, can't draw you out, but him gonna draw your tongue. Jeffrey
Let her turn.
Excellent summarization a while ago. But let me say, there are two things I'd like to, I can't say I'm a scholar on this subject, but I'm giving my personal opinion as a supporter of the People's National Party, a former MP, and someone who really, I'm very passionate about my country. Forget about PNP. I'm very passionate about Jamaica. So before PNP, I'm a Jamaican. My entire family has migrated except me. I have not accepted a green card because I believe that This is where I'm born. I'm belonged here, and so I'm going to turn off the lights here because I really want to do what I can do within the length of my cable tow to make this place a better place. So I'll establish that. There are two things. The policies of the People's National Party, which has not changed much since Mark Golding became leader, has always been people-centered. I'll give you an example. While we have not yet released our manifesto, but as I said, I don't think it's going to be different. Some of the things we have introduced, the Jamaica Labour Party government has taken them on as policy, whether it is paternity leave or whether it is relief for persons who can't pay their lights or water. Things like rent to own, where young people can contribute to NHT, they can rent a home. Part of the rental monies will go to a deposit. Once you get to the full deposit, that loan is converted to a mortgage and they can own that apartment or house, whichever is built. Those are policies of the PNP. Policies like 1 in every family should be sponsored through to university and get a university degree. 1 member of the family must be sponsored. Those are policies of the PNP. I was giving an example. It hasn't changed much. So I believe the policies of the PNP they are people-centered, and I will transform the Jamaican society in a real way. Because crime is tied to education or the lack thereof cause crime. The mindset of our people needs changing. We are very committed to early childhood education. We're committed to transforming the minds of our people to get them changed. So first of all, I don't believe that the policies will change differently under Mark Golding. Much. They will fine-tuning, but the fundamentals remain the same. I'm going to say this in my own humble opinion and layman understanding of the politics with the capitalists and the socialists. The JLP and the capitalist says, let's make the big man make enough more money. He will invest in business and it will trickle down to the small businesses. So technically, they're saying we're going to help the masses by empowering the big business people for them to make money, invest in businesses so it can trickle down to the small person. Theoretically, nothing is wrong with that. But sometimes we have to be careful to examine our history and the culture of capitalism in Jamaica and how exploitory it has been. Can that work? I doubt it. The PNP, being a socialist-centered party, believes in the upliftment of the masses. So the PNP say, look, if you are a businessman and you employ 5 people, PNP want you to expand your business and employ 10. Garfield, if you never go to university, PNP wants your children to go to university. Tavares, PNP believes that healthcare is a universal, it's a human right. Education is a human right. Security is a human right. Housing is a human right. But the PNP believe that people must make money. So we are not moving from the fact that we support a part of our policy supports capitalism or people making money through capital investment, but with a conscience. So we don't believe that the richest man in the world must not pay tax. We believe the richest man in the world must be rich, stay rich. The richest man in Jamaica must be rich, but you must pay your share of taxes so we can uplift the masses who have been disenfranchised for 300-400 years. So the policies will not change, and the policies will serve the Jamaican people well. Now, the next question is my friend Tamar, so why draw me out in now?
No, I mean, because, hold on here. Why I ask this question, Mr. Hilton?
Yes.
It's because the People's National Party believe that because a Peter Phillips didn't bring home the general election, they should change the president. Is it that if Mark going to bring the local government election, they're going to tell him to change and put in somebody else?
Why, you double down for drawing me out, eh? Double down. Let me tell you something.
I spring from the breed of Tavares, you know.
Good people, good people. But let me tell you something. I went to my former constituency today, Eastern St. Andrew, for
I saw your name and I got video with you inside there.
Yes, I was there, and the energy I've been feeling, I've been walking. Yesterday, I was walking in the Papine division with the council candidate, Comrade Darrington Ferguson. I walked with Carl Little in the Mona division. And let me tell you something. What I've picked up on the ground, people love PMP, that's a fact. But people are now tired of the Jamaica Labour Party and what they have done to them, the disrespect that they have suffered for the last 7 years in particular, and the lack of regard for their needs. And so I went to St. Catherine Northeast today. Andrew Niggins is running for Member of Parliament for the PMP there in Northeast, taking over from Phyllis Mitchell. And the energy that I saw on the ground, I went to Julian Robinson's constituency today. Remember me tell you, the energy that is there, I saw that when we won in 2011 with Portia Simpson Miller. The same energy. The people have finished, they are finished with the JLP. They want the People's National Party to take back the reins. If you talk to the average man, they will tell you, even labor rights, why when PMP in power, and say money run better. Little man make money, everybody make a little money, everybody feel happier. Labor rights tell me nothing. So I believe that it is time for change. So I'm not going down the argument now if we not win, what we're going to do with Mark Golding. Mark Golding is a leader that we have. I believe the people are warming up to him, and we have to do our best to make sure that the People's National Party, this is not about Mark Golding, this is not about Andre Hilton, this is not about Dayton Campbell, this is about Jamaica and its future. Norman Manley dead and gone, never leave no will, but then left the PMP all away. It's not a party. It's not a Peter Phillips party. It is a people's party. Yeah. So the people is the key in all of this, and that's who we keep at the center.
Yes.
Yeah. But
hold on there for me, Louis. Hold on there for me, Louis. I'll let you come in. So you will not tell me now.
It is not for me to say.
It's not for you to say.
But Jeffrey, I'm not to tell you. Look, Andre, what I'd love to hear is, given the fact that we are seeing what is happening in the rest of the world, the IMF, the IDB, the Caribbean Bank owns Jamaica because we are so heavily indebted. Our major foreign earner is foreign exchange. We hear that the job rate is at the lowest it has ever been. Almost everybody in Jamaica can have a job. So for us to come on this program is like we are telling when we say windshield wiper should not have been taken up in that survey. The bushing work people, them should not be taken up in the survey. But real job. How are we going to fix healthcare? How are we going to fix education? Infrastructure. How much more infrastructure? Will we see this high level of Chinese putting up buildings to every 10 Chinese, 1 Jamaican? And if the methodology is that when you have more building go up, money are going to make a trickle down, but to every 10 Chinese, there's 1 Jamaican. Who is it trickling down to? So what is going to be the economic plan that we're going to take this country forward? What happened to ganja reform? Are we going to reform ganja? Are we going to slow the roll of constitution reform and get every Jamaican in there, including people who are living outside of Jamaica, giving far more than their pound of flesh? Is there a seat at the table in a PMP administration for them to make a more valuable? How are we going to tackle crime? And when are we going to see some big men in this society that has raped the society, like how they raped our parents in slavery. They've they built their empires on the back of the slave. When are we going to put an end to that? And are we going to get fixed election dates? So election date is not a political football that you kick down the road. If you can't, if Mark Golden can't tell people, it's good that we can talk about the social program. And then I'm going to say, yeah, socialist. But socialism has its place. And I think it needs a proper discussion to talk about it. But when are we going to see some real policy that is going to put the people, Andre, not their political party, but they're going to put them in the driver's seat to really benefit from the growth of the economy, especially now that we are being taken over by a large amount of Chinese. We're seeing other people coming in and setting up business, but we see Jamaica looking not like us, but like them. Other people that take where everything where we have.
Well, look, you're absolutely correct. And is a whole heap you just say a while ago.
Yes,
yeah, that me realize. I chat too much, man. Yeah, man.
Well, no. It's on point. Let me tell you what PMP is not perfect. And there are a lot of things that we should be chanting out there that we're not chanting or not chanting enough. So I'll accept that. But let me just say this. If there's any of the two major political parties who will listen to the people and do something about those things that you mentioned, it will be the PMP. We have not done enough in the past. We have done a lot, but still not enough. Let me just say something fundamentally. And I in certain places in the party, I mentioned, not just mentioned, I recommended when this whole argument about constitutional reform came about, that the PMP should take it on the road and do a town hall throughout the country, just like when Michael Manley in the 70s, in the 80s, when he was not in parliament, had the People's Court, the People's Parliament, and talk with the people. In 1962, when the Constitution was written, Norman Manley was very influential in framing that Constitution. At that time, based on the mentality of our people, this experience we had at that time in 1962. Since then, remember in 1962, we had 80% illiteracy. So basically, I mean, some of our people couldn't even read and write. 80% couldn't even read and write. So the understanding of a thing called Constitution was very limited at the time. Now we have all people go through university, them bright. We need to sit with the Jamaican society, look, just as you are recommending, and say, look here, what is the kind of Jamaica we want to create that is people-centered, not King Charles centered or Queen Elizabeth centered or North American centered, but people centered. I could not agree with you more. We need some radical change in Jamaica. This system needs to turn inside out and change because it is not geared towards the people as much as it ought to. So I'm going to give you that. I'm not the leader of the PNP. I'm a member of the PNP, and I believe in the PNP. And I believe that the party that will listen and do something about it is the PNP. If I'm in the room, I will certainly continue agitating that we have to change the system. The education system needs to change. How we approach national security has to change. The entire well-being of the people in this country has to change. How we maximize our worth in the international space has to change. So, I agree with you. We have to change the system. And I believe, Mark Golden is doing his thing, and I think he has the mind. I think he has, he's certainly getting the understanding of some of the deep struggles of the society and what people are going through. And it will happen. Only, I won't say it can only, it's more likely to happen under a PMP government than a PMP government.
Definitely. Yeah. I have a question, Andre. I have a question. We look in the Senate and we look at the makeup of the Senate, and everyone in the Senate is politically appointed. We look at different committees that...
Except me, I wasn't politically appointed, except me.
Oh, well, you name Tavares, man, so you soon get your position. Right? When are we going to see somebody from the regular society? From the regular society, we talk about the constitutional reform, they want to change the constitutional reform, and you said to take it around Jamaica, and Michael Manley did all the people's court. When are we going to see Jamaicans that participate at the highest level, the little man on the street, right, who can read and write and who can articulate the English language well, who is nobody? When are we going to bring these people in the space? Because these are the people who are feeling the pressure. These are the people who are under the gun. When are we going to show these people that he or she can be a representative to participate in the discussion? You don't think that can empower people?
But tell me something now. Garfield, may I understand where you're going? But think about it. We have people in the council who can't read and write.
No, but forget about the council. We're not talking about elected position.
But may I tell you, say, look here, brother. You have people in a parliament, and the brightest are people from the streets. So I don't think. Remember, there's no qualification to be MP now. If I have a university degree, you know.
Correct.
Right. So let us say that if a man popular enough, and him can't read and write, and him can represent a seat, people go vote for him, and he becomes a MP for that, and there's nothing that stops him. No. What you're saying, I think, to take your point a little further, is you need someone in parliament, whether it's a man who can read and write, or a man who is a simple guy in the streets, but who's able, and it won't be any one person who can do that, who's able to reflect the needs of the people, who is able to reflect the yearnings of the people, who's able to reflect the vision of the people. If we find persons who can do that, sufficient persons, I believe that we can make that difference. So the Senate is...
Andrea, you see what I feel like a while ago. I'm glad you say I will put dunce in there. Because the dunce don't mean that because them man they can read and write, you know, they get too quiet. Because before they go there, they used to make up nice and then they get quiet. They fall in line. And then you have those who come from the university who don't even know say them dunce. Because after learning take place, them can't, that the aptitude is not to use that learning for the development of all, but to themselves. But here where the manners then. If you have a man the other day move from JLP and got PMP, and when the road come out, both set of people say, look here, you said where the man you go? That the man the way I go with. It tells me that the man the means say him really make a difference in the life of the people. Do we have Andre Hilton, people who are servant leader who understand, like Michael Manley? You see all who bash PMP? Michael Manley, the Manleys will live on in the memory
of the Jamaican people.
All of us.
Yes.
Of the Jamaican people. But nobody come close to them man there. Like Portia, and to, as you said, not to take anything away from Eddie. People have the respect. Everybody else literally a struggle for have that sort for people to be enamored by them. But Andre, how are we going to inspire a new set of Jamaican? Why can't we have constitution clubs? Why can't we have finance and planning clubs in every area? Why you can't walk and say that the byproduct of ganja, so we don't have to be taking Canadian ganja? Why is it that a prime minister who is so willing to reform the constitution by bringing only the people that he likes or the people he feels like, and then in some sort of a moral obligation, they bring a few like other people like him, know him, I forget some people from the opposition. Why couldn't it have been a consultative process that included everybody from every walk of life? And then when my brethren I said, Garfield, when you do get power, Andre, why is it that when you don't go for people like people that people know, them people that serious when them come to saying, look here, them not moving a dial upon this. This is what them all about. They're about putting those bread and butter issues and development issues on the table. Why Mark Golding surround himself with some ordinary Jamaican? Who are his ordinary Jamaican body of consultants that he's listening to? Because he needs to sort of escape from that level, those level of people, like the ones that he has been associated with, who think that they understand the pulse of the people when they don't. Because the truth of the matter, a police record shouldn't take 1 year, a man serve him time in Andre Hilton and I'll pay him fine, and him have to wait 1 year. Down at the police record office, don't have the people them. I've heard of situation where them look for a man record and find it in our next man one 2 years later. And the Jamaican people are suffering. You talk about Lambert go to university hospital and get misdiagnosed. How many persons have died? Andre Hilton. When are we going to move the goalpost from talking where we actually have lawsuit against hospital for not carrying out? But when are you going to be better able to pay the people? So let us build on the Michael Manley and the Norman Manley legacy. Norman said Constitution was theme. Michael did education, and a lot of him make the bastard children have the right to feel like somebody. What is our legacy, Andre Hilton? What is it that we need to do now? There is a fair sense of urgency now, Andre, and how are we going to train the next group of leaders to understand that it has to be Jamaica center? Because if Jamaica do well, we all do well. Who are going to train that tier of leaders? Do we have leadership clubs in our community that we are educating those young people about civic responsibility, civic duty, and civic pride and respect? That's where we need to go. The direction has to be Black people. We have to organize the ordinary people to start corporate credit unions in their constituency and stop depending on some of these central banks where they build houses. And when those houses are leased to swell, they benefit from the proceed that comes out of the NHT. We need to stop raping the NHT. Sooner or later, nobody can buy a house. But then again, me I go on and go on. But what me I try to say, Andre, like how you are worked up and inspired, can we not go around Jamaica and start talking to the young people about how to make difference in their community, hearing what they have to say, bringing everybody aboard? Can we not write new policies how we're going to teach our farmers how to farm, so in case of a food shortage? Look how much water we waste a Mantico Bay the other day, when we could have used that the water there for water the products in the people them farm, when still have problem with getting water to water their crop. When are we going to think macro in that sense of
look, betting Jeffrey?
Yes.
We have got to recruit Luke to be a part of the PMP task force here.
So hold on there now, Mr. Hilton. You're throwing this around and me not to tell Luke to be a part of the PNP?
Yeah, you have to go with the broker.
But Jesus have mercy, God.
But what Luke is saying is correct. And I don't have the answers, to be honest. I have some thoughts in my own head, and I'm a practical man. We need a constitution that is people-centered. And what all Luke is talking about, all the thing we're talking about, is a people-centered government, a people-centered constitution, a people-centered police force. Look at the police force. An example, just to add to what Luke is saying. In 1865, when the police force was established after the Morant Bay Rebellion, the JCF, Jamaica Constabulary Force, not the Jamaica Constabulary Service.
Yes.
It was a force established to protect the white colonial masters of this country against the masses. So in the psyche of the JCF, and I say they're trying to change it, but the psyche of the police force is to protect the rich against the poor. That needs to change. So and I'll say that as in a nutshell, the entire constitution, the entire system in Jamaica has to change and put the people at the center. So all the policies, how we're going to change that? Luke made some good points about can we engage having a national conversation where we can talk to some young, bright, beautiful Gen Z people out there that they're way ahead of their time. We can engage them. But I think fundamentally we have to start with the education system. We have to start with early childhood. We have to fix that first. Get the 3-year-old to 6-year-old to understand in a very fun-loving way the kind of Jamaicans that they can be. If you start there and you invade or take over the early childhood system with the right kind of support, social intervention, the community involvement, the church, everybody, and we try to create a curriculum that says to youngsters, this is who we want you to become. This is the kind of Jamaican we want you to become. If you have that flood of young people coming into the system, in another 5-10 years, they will play another great and important role. But not to leave out the ones now in high school and so on. We need to engage them. But what Rook is really saying, he's agreed with me. The damn system need to turn inside or turn over and start over with the people being the center. Remember now, when we got independence and this constitution was written, the center of that is Britain. True. Queen Elizabeth was the center.
No, King Charles.
The power, the system, rather than the people. So, look, I agree with you. It has to start all over. A new system needs to be introduced. And to get that system, we have to listen to the people. So, I'm saying it can be done.
Yeah, and Andre, here's one of the things that gets me. When you look on tonight's panel, Garfield, Louis, Jeffrey Ardens, everybody that on this program, come from every walk of life, have some skill set. How are we utilizing the resource that we have both at home? You see, Andrea, Mark needs not to pay platitude to people. Mark needs to really listen. You say him will listen, and I hope him will listen. Mark needs to listen. Because let me tell you something. We have to create an economy. If we, the Jamaican people, ever got own nothing for ourselves, I really run this country how it is supposed to be run. We should sell out Norman Manley Airport to no Mexican. Jamaicans, both home and abroad, if everyone would take $25,000 and buy a piece of the franchise.
Remember, Air Jamaica, and shouldn't sell out Air Jamaica either.
The government No, but look,
yeah, but it is a bitter water because them thing there, we should not be selling out. All right, if you privatize the part of the hospital, because everywhere else in the world, people make money and fight. You can't say free if a 75% of the dollar go to service in the national debt. But if every Jamaicans were supposed to be a part of a compulsory corporate credit union saving, which part of that is supposed to take care of part of it has to take care of their health care. And so they have doctors and clinics that are type 5 level within their community, and then the hospital now see those major cases that those can't take. But you know that you're contributing to it. We are going to take care of our miscreants and our elderly and our handicap, because we're going to have a special exemption program where it's almost like a cost sharing. We look after people because we know that they might not be physically be able to look after themselves. If we're not taught that, forget ourselves out of poverty, man. Andre, if we're not teaching our people, because look here, you see, one of the things is that PMP build the house. I love when PMP say where they build. But when you're building the house and you're going to put a young person in there, Gen Z, and them I get $15,000, Anthony, what do they, how much money them can spend on food, pay the mortgage, pay the light bill, and still take care of family? So the reality is that we have to make sure that we are create additional wealth for our people to be able to feel as if we are Jamaican, and we are not only, value is not only added to us every 5 years when you want to vote. No want an MP sit down like how you used to sit down with your people them and plan out how we are going to come out of poverty. And we must engage our international brothers and sisters to help us to harness some of those ideas. Don't take the money. I'm tired of the diaspora people that will give government money. They must say, look here, show me the community plan, sign out by the community people. And we will come down and give not only financial resources, but we will also provide the people resources to help people to get these things out of the way. Right? I'm going to tell you, go on, Jeffrey.
No, I was just saying that what you're saying is correct and everything like that. Let us give Andre this to answer now, and then we'll have Louis Barton to come on in. Then we're gonna take some calls.
No, I can't come back on. I have to leave now. But
okay, all right, Louis. Thanks much.
All right, take care. And gentlemen, good night.
Good to see you, Louis. Good to see you.
All right, same here, man.
All right.
I'll see you on the campaign.
Yes. Again, when Luke talked, there's just so much to answer, I can't take on all of it, but I'll tell you two things. One, it goes back to the system that needs to change. It goes back to the education. It goes back to civics. When you look at in 2020, we had 37% voter turnout. It shows that people don't want to vote. If you ask young people, they're not interested in politics. Why? Because they don't understand it. So it goes back to the education system where people can be taught how to be a responsible Jamaican citizen and participate in the process. So if you call a town hall meeting, you're going to have just a few persons turning out, not understanding the importance of discussing their future in the kind of country they're trying to create. You mentioned about my involvement in politics and governance. When I was member of parliament for Eastern St. Andrew, I remember working through the University of the West Indies and UTEC. We designed a university town, and the concept where all the communities around the universities could benefit. Augustown was one such example, where even Jamaica National gave loans to homeowners to build additional rooms so that students could board. When we met with a youths on the corner, we had about 13 set of youths on different corner. We said to them, look here, make we bring the students who live in Augustown. When the students live down here, them support your dance, them support the wholesale, them support the bar, and they are investment in your community. A lot of people bought into that. Tavern, for instance, is one of the safest communities for students in Jamaica. Because the people down there take it very serious. Them build them like a place, them rent it to students. Nobody can touch a student down there. Mm-hmm. It's because they are participating in the economy of their community. So what Luke is saying is correct. But we have to engage people to let them feel that they are a part of it. And once they feel that they are a part of it, when we talk to youth on the corner and say, look here, you are responsible to keep the peace. Garfield, you know the thing go. When you say to a youth, look here now, you have to be a part of people. Sometimes a man down the road and them have two set of gangs have problem. They don't even understand how their antisocial behavior is impacting the rest of the community. But when you involve them in a discussion, you bring them around the table and say, look here, all you young people are part of this peace initiative. That's why we move 40 murders in August down to 1 in 2015 and 0 in 2016. And the JLP, when they won, celebrated the zero murder. But it's a sequence of events that took place and involvement. I used my office as Member of Parliament to bring all the stakeholders together. And they solved it because they were around the table and felt a part of it. So in the whole thing that we're saying, it needs to be a concerted national effort, national conversation.
Yes.
Collective.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me ask, hold on for me. Let me say this. I hope Sir Andre can just stay back a couple of minutes with us. For those who want to call in and interact with us, the number is 954-529-8030. 954-529-8030. Call and interact with us. Go ahead.
I mean, Andre, as you say, you're bringing people around.
One second, Garfield. Jeffrey, I have to go now. I'm having a crisis. So I will talk to you. I really have to go. I'm having a crisis as we speak. All right?
Okay, I do apologize. Sorry about that, Luke. I'll give you a call.
Yeah. You know,
yes,
and that is what I'm saying, to bring in the people, to be a part of a collective effort. And these are the things we want to hear, Andre, because, I mean, we don't need necessarily to hide a manifesto, but there are people out there who really understand the pressure that the mass of the people are feeling. And when we bring these people to the table, we can have a fulsome understanding of what's going on. Look at what you mentioned, a university town. I live in South Florida, and right around where I live, there is a college, the Broward College, and a lot of people rent their rooms to these people. Now, think about it. These are things that need to spread across Jamaica. And again, somebody can earn an income from that, because he or she now can use that to elevate his or herself. I mean, and that's a brilliant idea. These are the solutions. These are the policies I would love to hear from the political platform. How people can uplift their lives. Absolutely. I mean, it is just brilliant hearing you say this. And I mean, I didn't know this, to be honest with you. But guess what? You have now planted a seed in my head, and this is something that I myself need to talk more about, because it is important. It is very much important, because a lot of students cannot afford to stay on campus at UWI.
That's right.
Because students stay in Portmore. And as you said, if a student is staying around UWI, around UTech, even the doctors in training at UWI, they can't afford to stay because there are not enough accommodation for them. That's it will build a community.
Yep. And it's an investment.
And it's an investment, correct.
Remember now, in Eastern St. Andrew, we have the two largest universities in the Caribbean, correct, along with 4 other tertiary institutions, plus high schools, plus the local young people who born and grow there. So it's the most densely populated constituency with young people. But if you have a university town, we had a plan to transform Papine, for instance, into becoming a real university-centered town. A brand new market, fire station, police outpost, information booth, a brand new market, a brand new park, transportation center. I'm about the way we have the plan for the transportation center. I'm saying labor them take it up and put office.
Yeah, but even the police station is tucked in a corner inside where the that police station need to be out in front.
Yeah,
that police station be tucked in a corner. How can a police mobilize from there? There's no parking for the police. So I mean, where's the infrastructure? So we need to put these things front and center. The police station should be on a property by itself, even where they have the forensic office right down there by the Ministry of Agriculture, right by Oak Garden. That's a perfect place to place a police station.
What they put one into a water bed.
Well, Jeffrey, no, it's Jeffrey. You're talking about Green Acres.
Isn't that true, Sir Hilton? Is that Andre's frozen?
Yeah, he's frozen. Yeah.
For those who want to call in, the number is 954. Hello, good night. Welcome to Make We Talk. Hello? Yes, sir. Speak up for me now.
How you doing?
Your name is who?
Sibadan.
Go ahead.
What?
You called to speak on the program, sir?
Yes. I want to talk about a situation. Let ask you a question, sir. Why does Jamaica is in the wrong direction?
Why is Jamaica doing what?
Why Jamaica is in the wrong direction?
You want to ask me that question?
Yeah.
Do you live in Jamaica, sir?
Yes.
No, but the question I'm asking, is Jamaica going in the wrong or right direction? That's the question I asked.
I want to know if Jamaica is in the right or wrong direction.
No, you answer that question. You call it, you answer that question.
I am going to say no.
Well, that's
Jamaica is not in. What? Jamaica is going in the wrong direction. You know why? Because crime and violence happen in this country, and the corruption.
But
the corruption need to come to an end though, because a lot of things happen in this country. Murder, killing, rape, and all sorts of things. And elections are coming up, and every time when election takes place in Jamaica, every 5 years, it doesn't make no sense. Politicians are not helping anybody. It really doesn't make any sense. What's the purpose of the politicians?
You answer that question, sir, because aren't you living in Jamaica, sir?
Yes, I live in Jamaica.
And so where do you think Jamaica is going?
In the wrong direction.
And what are you going to do about it as a Jamaican citizen?
If I see somebody murder somebody in this country, what I will do, take action against the person.
Well, Jeffrey, that's the gentleman's civil right, civic duty to do that. But I hear people talk about politicians are corrupt in Jamaica, and I'm of one of the person believes that people corrupt politicians because politicians are not the people who write the checks. People bring ideas to politicians, and some politicians suckered into that argument. So if we are going to say politicians are corrupt, we ourselves need not to involve in corrupt practices, Jeffrey. And then because if we the people are not corrupt, the politician cannot get corrupt, because the politician alone will stand alone in the water by his or herself. So the fact of the matter, we as a Jamaican, we have a role to play that we should cut out this argument about bandul and links. And we need to move past this thing about corruption. And a lot of us as Jamaican, the gentleman talk about crime and violence. A lot of us as Jamaicans cover up for our own family member in our own house who we know who are the criminals of today. And we refuse to sometimes to turn them over to the police because we are getting political out of them bad behavior. Stuff. So until that, so we need to be accountable for our own actions. I don't know if I make sense or not.
Yes, hold on for me, please. Good night. Welcome to Make We Talk.
Good night.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. I called last night on the program. Is that Louis Reed? is that Mr. Reed that was just speaking about corruption, corrupted government and with the people. I would just like to say something on that. What I would like to do, I would like to beg to differ. Now, if you're saying that because of corruption, if the politician is corrupt and you will act in the same corrupt environment, you can't really say anything. We should all be uncorrupted to make him be in the fish in the water. No, that is going to be impossible, because what happens is everything that you do in Jamaica forces you to be corrupt. So if
I don't believe that.
By trying to uphold and keep the law, right, you're going to be corrupted, because you will realize when you go to try and do the right thing and you're not getting through, when you're doing the right thing, you're going to end up being corrupted. Here why I say this. I say this because, for an example, tax office. You go to the tax office and you're in this long line waiting to get everything done. When, if you know somebody behind the counter, you just talk to them and then do something for you. Probably you give them one little change and you get it done. These are the things that makes you get corrupted. It is.
But caller, I can ask you a question. But caller, I can ask you a question. Is this? That is why we go to the tax office to use the tax services, right? Or the government services. You have some people that goes to work, and you have some people that show up for work. So what we need to do, caller, is we need to know all the powers that be and identify the people who are slacking off in the government services, and that those are the people that we need to weed out of such services and put people in there who want to go to work and do the work for a meaningful wages. And that is what people like Andre Hilton, who've become the next leader, the next MP, these are things that we need to ask for. People for accountability, so we don't need to go into the long line and wait. And this is it is a trend across Jamaica. If you go into the party shop in Jamaica, you go and stay there and wait because somebody is there slacking off. And I can tell you, if you go to other countries throughout this world, it's not the same. It's not the same. People really work. If you go into Europe, into some European country, these people put in their work because they know the wages are depending on their production. If you go to Burger King in the United States, there is a timer on the window. So these people put in the work because they know they will penalize. But that is where I'm saying, Andre, as a caller saying, let us put the work in, put people who are responsible, who will carry out the work so we can get rid of that corrupt practices. That's what I am saying.
Mr. Hilton, have any comment on it? Caller, I can hang up and listen to what Mr. Hilton have to say.
No, man, I wanted to say something else because he just went on. Now, that is where I was going with this conversation, because I'm saying, in order to get that done the right way, exactly what he's saying, we need to change our system of government to make sure that they are accountable. If there's no accountability, then we cannot be in an uncorrupted nation. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And that is going on now. Lack of accountability. Everything that is being done is there's no accountability, there's no transparency, there's nothing at all. So that's why we will always have this problem of corruption. I always tell people the only way to get rid of crime or every other thing that follows crime and violence in Jamaica is the first thing to get rid of corruption.
Yes.
Right? And the easiest way to fight crime is to deal with petty crime. A policeman going down the road and say a man broke a red light, stop him. Don't ignore it. Stop him. Ticket him. Yeah. Because that same man could have been a gunman going into a location to kill somebody, or coming from a location after killing. These are the things that we should be looking at as well.
Yes.
So you can go ahead now. Good night, everyone. And Andre Hilton, big up yourself. You know, say you don't realize who on the phone, but you're a big friend from Mobile, man. Respect.
I know that voice, man. Yeah, man. Respect you. Respect.
All right.
The subject of corruption is very complex. Right. Very, very complex. And as I say, we don't want to cast blame as to why we're corrupt, but we must know if you're going to create change, you have to understand what you have to change, and you have to understand that there's a need to change. Does the people of Jamaica believe that there's a need to change this corruption thing? Some people do, some people don't. The society is inherently corrupt, and it started from a long time, and we have to change it. I often tell people the story that
one moment, please. One
of our most popular national heroes, not literal national heroes, but in our minds, is Brother Nancy. Brother Nancy was like a general, and we revere him because we were told these stories by our grandmothers and so on. The other thing about corruption in Jamaica is that some people believe, even in the political circle, that if they're benefited from it, then they're all right with it. And if they're not benefited, then cost. But what I think we need to do, first of all, is to, again, we go back to the word education. We have to educate our people. And we have to educate them about why corruption hurts them. You have to show how corruption impacts their daily lives in a negative way. You have to really bring it home to them. You also have to show them the value of not being corrupt. If you don't tell a man, say, look here, you can make more money than that being a general. And you can have people who demonstrate that. Some years ago, when I was younger and went to a party in St. Elizabeth, I met I had a convertible car at the time, and I drove to this Pepsi teen splash or something like that. When I was much younger. And when I realized that my car was a convertible car, I could easily cut the roof and go in there. I said, boy, I can't park out the road now. I'm park my car now. Come out of the car now. I said, I'm going to the party. I'm going to think about it. I say, so them can cut the roof and just go in there and can rob everything in there. And I decided I'm going to go into the party and ask the police to let me in. When I went to the gate, long and short, I realized I didn't have my wallet. When I came out of the car, my wallet was between my legs and it dropped out. Two fellows came up and drove up behind me and parked behind me, saw the wallet after I moved off. And of course, they picked it up. When I came back out embarrassed, couldn't pay me, go through in a party, police said to me, you're Mr. Elton? I said, yes. I said, who are you looking for you? And when the youths came up to them, say, yeah, Mr. Elton? I said, yes. And say, I lose something? Yes, I lose my wallet. Them days, me had it could have been about $20,000 cash in there. Them days, the $20,000, like, I must say, like $2 million now. What for money? 22,000 was in those days. And the youth gave me back my wallet with my credit cards, everything, and 22,000 cash. Now, when I pay for them to the youth, them 18 and 17, can't afford to go in a party. And me pay for them going to a party, show them a good time, give them alcohol money, and we became friends. Come from Junction in St. Elizabeth. I had a branch in Santa Cruz, Andres Auto at the time, and I gave this youth a job. He got a profession from that job. He got a livelihood. Today, he's doing very well, married, because he did not go the corrupt way. The youth give back the wallet with $22,000, and he got a profession that has now helped him to have a livelihood. We have to teach people that doing the right thing is more beneficial. Makes sense to teach a man who hungry, say, boy, I will give back the man. You have to show him how this is going to help him down the road. You have to show him, say, if you take the money from a corrupt politician, you next time you go at the hospital and your granny have to lay down on the floor.
There's no services.
Exactly. So when you don't take the corrupt money, and you are now holding your politician and your government accountable, you are in a moral position to say, I demand good service. But when they are give you licky money and corrupt money, I'm not saying the politician is doing that or whoever is doing it, then you have no moral authority to demand of them. So we have to teach our people that corruption does not pay.
I have a call coming in, Sir Hilton. Hold on a minute for me, please. Good night. Welcome to Make It Talk.
Hello, Hello, gentlemen. Good night and good morning after midnight. If you know, can you hear me?
Yes, man. Go ahead. I'm hearing you.
Listen, you talk a lot. I've learned a lot. Now we have to do a lot for Jamaica.
Yes.
We need somebody that can say, all right, we have to do this and do that, because we never go high school, and the school that I attended was a secondary school. We had learned to do electrical, and after you do the course electrical, they find you a job. That was back in the 70s, coming up to the 80s, which I appreciate. We have agriculture in a secondary school. We have woodcraft in a secondary school. Every kind of thing, everything in secondary school make you have an occupation in life. Not at a college level, but as a skill level in secondary school. And I was a part of it, Old Harbour Secondary School, which now turned into Old Harbour High.
Mm-hmm.
And my opinion is we need somebody over here, because not for we over here want to go back to Jamaica, but because of what's going on down there.
Sir?
I'm on the road right now. I just enter in Florida from out of Georgia. I'm on the 75. I'm a truck driver.
Oh, okay.
So I listen to your program, and it's a great platform, and I enjoy it. It's my first time calling and listening, and I rather listen to this more than listen to music, because I learn a lot tonight.
Thank you.
I may not catch in everything, but what I pick from what I pick what, to me and so forth. And one of your callers said Jamaica has no vision. Without that vision, the country cannot go nowhere. First, we need to find the vision, and yes, we need to get the young people involved in politics, so that Jamaica could be a better Jamaica. Instead of having invest in the foreigners, make we invest in our country, so Jamaica can be Jamaica like back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have to say, and it's a great program. I enjoy it, and continue doing what you do, Mr. Tavares, and to your other panel guests. I enjoy and I learned a lot, and I thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Where in Jamaica are you from?
Old Harbour.
Old Harbour. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks much for calling in.
All right, then.
Thank you. I have a next call coming in. Uh-oh. Lord, looks like I hung up the phone.
Andre, let me ask this question. Because from Evelyn, I have been eating the movement from the traditional secondary schools for students who wasn't successful.
Hold on to me, Garfield. Mm-hmm. Hello, good night. Welcome to Make We Talk.
Good night, Jeffrey.
Yes, turn off what you have in the background, sir. I'm going to cut you off if you don't turn it off, sir. Turn off, please. Yes, go ahead now.
Jeffrey.
Yes.
Yeah, nice program, and I'm listening to you, okay?
Yes. Where are you calling from?
In New York.
Okay.
Yes, in Queens, all right?
In Queens, New York. Thanks much, man.
Man, respect.
You have any question for Mr. Hill during the body?
Yeah, me just want to add something to Mr. Hilton say, all right?
Go ahead.
Me love the fact that him, try to assist the guy, or one of the guy who gave him back his wallet, all right?
Yes.
And I agreed with 90% of what he said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last, he said that if we don't stop the politicians from being corrupt, then we have no moral authority to talk on the matter. All right. However, I want to ask Mr. Andre, what is the standard to be a politician? Because I think if the standard to be a politician is someone who is ethical, and someone who believes in values, truth and values, then in the first place, you wouldn't come with $1,000 or $5,000 to bribe a man. Me never understand what I said to you.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, we could go further and say all politicians need to be a Christian, But the point is, though, I think it was said earlier no politician can be corrupt unless the people are corrupt.
Exactly.
And you know, when we oftentimes use Singapore as an example, because it's a small country, a little bit more people than us. They were very poor, and in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they transformed from a third world country to a first world country, came to Jamaica, adopted our policies, and did very well. But one of the things we don't take into account, first of all, we can't compare Singapore with Jamaica for the simple reason. Singapore had a different raw material in terms of human capital to deal with. The people of Singapore didn't go through slavery like we did in 400 years and was indoctrinated in not believing ourselves, bad mind, unethical, corrupt, jiddles, all kind of something. It was a different kind of people, poor but had a different mentality. So the raw capital that Lee Kuan Yew had to, the raw material that Lee Kuan Yew had to work with is different from the raw material in Jamaica. We are talented people and we are great people, but we have some like a re-engineering mentally to deal with. The second thing is, and if you look at the investment policies, both the West wanted to build a logistics hub there, and so there was huge investment that went there. And so the things that Lee Kuan Yew did in cutting out corruption, one, first of all, remember he was a dictator, a benevolent dictator, but a dictator. He locked up the opposition, he locked down the media, and him say, look here, I saw where I go, and everybody African farm. So that's a top-down approach to cutting corruption. The first one, I'm minister, them take up an equivalent to a holiday, like say one of the hotel give a weekend with my wife, and you go there. And when the man come back, Lee Kuan Yew lock him up and put him to jail. The man not do anything in his mind, in our minds, wrong, but Lee Kuan Yew said, no, do a clean slate. So I'm saying to correct corruption, you have to that start. If you have a situation like a Lee Kuan Yew, who's a dictator, and it means that we in Jamaica have given up a lot of our rights. The way to solve corruption is to educate our people of the benefits in operating a decent, honest society.
Yes.
Why we must not be corrupt and why we are going to be better off not being corrupt. So, you know, it has to take an approach. Unless you're going to find a dictator government who just say, look here, we are lack of anybody who have look at them having a smell of corruption. If you're not willing to do that, then we have to start from the basic schools, start teaching our children of the kind of Jamaica, develop a real vision for the kind of Jamaica that we want, and start teaching our children from basic school, formative years, and get society to buy into it.
All right.
I don't want to simplify it because it's a girl idea, but I think it's either have to start from the bottom or from the top to cut out corruption. However, we need some more experts to help us with it.
Right. And that, thank you, Mr. Hilton. On that note, caller, thanks for calling in.
Respect.
Thank you. This is where we said so. This we're going to say so long for tonight. Mr. Hilton, your final words on the program here, sir.
My final words, first of all, thank you, Brother Tavares, for inviting me. I always enjoy talking with you and your guests. It was a pleasure. And to all your viewers and listeners, I enjoy sharing with you. I just want to say that Jamaica is a wonderful place. And I want to thank all the persons in the diaspora. I've always said, every time that Jamaica achieved greatness in the last 100 years, the diaspora has played an important role. So I want to encourage you all to continue agitating for a better Jamaica. I really believe that the People's National Party is the vehicle that will bring about the kind of transformation that is necessary to make Jamaica a real country to live, raise families, and do business. It's a country that we want a country that we can truly say out of many one people, where white, black, Chinese, Indians, poor, rich, all of us can have a decent life. I want a country where we can all have an opportunity to achieve our greatness. And it's going to happen when all of us bind together, JLP, PNP, Catholics, Muslims, and Protestants come together to say, let us create this country. Keep up the good work. Let's make this a better place. I'm going to do my little part for as long as I live, and I want to encourage you to continue doing the same thing. But good night. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And I called on you on short notice, and you never said to me no. You said you'll come on. And I want to lift my hat to you for that, sir. Thank you so much for coming on.
Respect you, my brother.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Garfield, big up yourself.
Here, Andre.
Yeah, man, respect.
Appreciate the talking to you, man, and love your insight. And we need to continue that. I mean, it's positive. As I said to Jeffrey earlier, I need to hear policies. I want to hear solutions. I'm not big into politics, because at the end of the day, whosoever who are the leaders of any opposition or government, Jamaicans are still in the country and outside of the country. And I must say, I would love for both political parties to come out with their policies, with their manifesto, so people can hear. Because at the end of the day, that is how we gauge our life. That is how we plan, is based on what is in the pipeline. We cannot turn on the pipe and cannot get water. So we want to know exactly what are the plans, what are the intentions. But I must say, education, educate the people, because when the people are educated, the people are informed, we can now make better decisions. We can know, knowing that this what we are doing, because that it is hurting us. When we go to the university hospital, if we don't have education, we don't know how to navigate around the hospital. And again, people must understand what their life, what the infrastructure is all about. And again, I'm a Jamaican first, but may God help us. Thank you.
Yes, and I hope come election day, Sir Hilton, when I call your phone, in the way the constituency you are, I hope you can answer to find out what is going on in the constituency, sir.
If the service works, I'll certainly do that. Thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Brother Tavares, you both take care of yourself. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Garfield Reed. Thank you all very much. I want to say thanks to Luke George Cook, Garfield Reed, Louis Barton. Until you hear my voice again, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Have a great night, everyone. May God bless you. May God bless Jamaica land we love. Remember, love someone, treat someone good, and like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Have a great night, everyone.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.
Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it now help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represent yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affect the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk.